image, right?
Niggas is mad, I get more butt than ashtrays.
We ain't gonna do that. Let's cancel. I ain't know that. Somebody ain't got the clean version. What's up? All right, well, cancel that. Good morning. That's what I get for having both. See, depending on who you DJing for. Be like, what generation is this? Which one we gonna go with? Listen, cannot at all be doing that one. I'm like, what the heck? Terrible. Anyway, I was trying to play, here goes a brand new flavor in your ear. But, Craig Mack, rest in peace. But we can't do that. Sorry. Church folk like, what? What's going on? Good morning. Welcome to Shop Talk with Mel. It is time to shop talk. Listen, we got a bunch of hot topics to go over. However, we got to talk about what's going on. And I'm glad Kim Ham, the go-to girl, Nick in the building. Kim, I need you today.
Uh-oh, what's up?
Listen, when you actually have, it's that wow moment, that wow factor, and people pretend that they're happy for you, but they're really not happy for you.
Oh, okay.
You like, what?
Yeah.
But they act like they're happy for you. They're great actors and actresses, but they're really not happy for you. What is that when somebody, they want to be happy for you, but they're not? It's like the jealousy, but I hate to use the term jealousy.
It's not jealousy. We'll go with envy because that's not so strong. And it's not that they're envying your success. They are, but at the same time, they're grieving their lack of. Like, they don't mind you being there if they were there too.
Okay.
So sometimes when someone is saying, I'm happy for you, they do mean that. But at the same time, they're frustrated with themselves because they feel like they should be there too. And they're being reminded of what they haven't done or what they feel they cannot do to achieve what they see you doing. Sometimes that mirror starts to crack a little bit, and that's what's happening.
How do we fix that?
You can't fix it. One wise podcaster told one go-to girl not too long ago, all you can do is be you. Have your own flavor and let go of the naysayer. Now, that's what you told me.
I said that.
You did.
But it's the truth. But I didn't look at it in that light.
Because it's not that they're not happy for you. And you have to realize that there's a little bit of competitor in everybody. And as long as somebody is seeing you do the hustle and struggle, then they feel like you're on that same level with them. But when they see that you are starting to rise above, coming to your own power, your grace and authority, and you are now edging them in that race that they've set up, that's when you see that smile, but you can also see behind the smile because it's like, well, that should have been me. Or how come she was able to pull it off and I wasn't? There's a whole lot of lessons that goes into that with a lot of things. It goes with education. It goes with anything that you're trying to do. You are a playwright, you have a podcast, you are a professional. So if it's you that people are looking at it like that, well, yeah, they are glad to see you there. But at the same time, it's like, well, how's she doing it and I can't? Because a lot of times it's a reflection. Validation. Remember, it's always validation, gratification, or control 100% of the time.
One more time.
Validation, gratification, or control.
Yeah, I'm gratification. I fall into the gratification.
Mm-hmm.
Gratification. I see it happening, and I'm glad that I haven't experienced it, or maybe they might be happening behind the scenes, and I don't even know nothing about it. I'll be like, wait a minute, what? But I see it happen so often, especially when we, and I say we as Black people, will have, okay, well, this is what I'm going to open up this clothing store, and then somebody else decides, oh, I can do that too. And they open up a clothing store. Why are they in competition when you don't even like clothes like that? Like, I remember, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember you were elementary and like that wasn't the move. Or you'll have somebody who let's say in elementary, they didn't have much. They're like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to be a designer. And you know that person, and that's what they really want to do. And then somebody else will come in and be like, just because they're doing it, like, I could do that too. When that's really not their ministry.
Because they don't know who they are. So they try to emulate who they see. That's what people do all the time.
Okay.
Everybody is somebody else's example.
Uh-huh.
So when everybody is somebody else's example and they see people doing things, okay, let's go with the clothing store. Maybe it's not the clothing store that we'll call it the copycat, just so that we can clarify who's who. The copycat may not want a clothing store per se, but if they see somebody else doing it, that person who's doing it becomes the template for them. Maybe they want to do a record store. Maybe they want to do a hair salon. Maybe they want to do something different, but they don't have anybody to show them how. So they see this person doing a clothing store and they want to be a business person and they want to do something, but they don't know how to do it in and of themselves. So they copycat, if you will, the person they see doing it, because that's the only person who can show them how to do anything. We become the examples, and I say we, meaning everybody, because somebody is always copycatting somebody else, whether it's by intent, whether it's by just a template. When you go to somebody and say, this is what I want to do, can you give me some insight on that? That is a form of, okay, I see you doing it, I want to do it. And so
is that necessarily a bad thing?
No, it's not a bad thing. But when you say this person doesn't like clothes, this person doesn't know anything about clothes, yeah, but they know they have a dream to do something. And a lot of people are more defined about themselves than others. So if you're not really sure about where you're trying to go and that looks good to you, then yeah, maybe you'll follow that. I have a client right now, okay, and they're hiring me to help them do something that they literally have very, very, very little insight into, to the point where I had to question, why do you want to do this? And sometimes people think they know what they want until they start exploring it. And once they start getting into it, they're like, well, there's a little bit more to this than meets the eye. So when you have people who really aren't grounded in what their personal vision is, you're going to see them follow other people. You're going to see them envy other people because they're still searching for themselves. Now, yes, to learn from others is one thing, and they'll tell you imitation is the best form of flattery. But if that person who's imitating you really has little insight into who they are, that's when you start to see all these other emotions come in, all of these other behaviors and principles and concepts, because it's like, why are you doing a clothing store and you don't know jack about clothes? And they're saying, because I'm doing something.
Well, to me, the type of person that I am, if this is something that I'm interested in, I think that there's a difference in being interested in it than actually doing it. And they might have the financial backing, and see, that's what I see. They'll have the money, like somebody, this is their passion. This person has the money and say, hey, I'm getting ready to do this. Why wouldn't you go to that person and be like, hey, I'm interested in this. Do you mind if I work with you or be an assistant or something like that to help, instead of separating it and having people make a choice?
Because everybody's striving for relevance. We have a lot of chiefs. We don't have enough Indians.
But
that's mindset. It's a mindset. The simple fact that we are talking about it tells you that there's an issue that goes deeper than what we're talking about. It's deeper than a business. It's deeper than education. It's deeper than where you live and what you drive. There is an innate defect that says I'm less than. And so I don't want to work with you. I want to outdo you. That's the mindset that comes with that, because everybody's striving for their own place in the world of validation. How much worth do I get if I have to share it? Everybody don't think like us, Mel.
They should.
But they don't. And the reason why we can do it is because I'm okay with me and you're okay with you. Everybody's not okay with themselves. So why am I going to... Some people will do that to leech off of you too. Sometimes you don't want anybody to ask you to help.
Girl, get close to take it, won't say?
Now you got to go to motives. It's a complex thing that we really can't hit in a 2-hour show, because it goes down to your simple concept of self. Why? You can see the same thing happening, and it'll be good on this side and bad on this side, because what's the drive behind it?
Now that's the truth. That is the truth. And, you'll hear me constantly say, how can this serve me? That's how I do things. How can this serve me? I don't, and that's not a leeching spirit. It is how can, even when I meet somebody, how can they serve me? Hey, how are you? How can they serve me? Well, I know, hey, I just met somebody new today. I could possibly learn something just by a brief conversation. Rugel's good with meeting people wherever and talking to them for hours.
Hours on hours.
And look, I'm like, hours. I ain't got that kind of time.
It's funny. I was at this banquet the other night, and it was his wife. She was waiting outside the door. I was like, now I see what that looks like. I was like, because that's what my wife is like waiting. I was like, you be doing a lot of waiting, huh? She was like, yeah.
You said this is what it looks like, huh?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
I think you Nick, let me ask you. I don't want to exclude you here. How do you feel about and I know that we've all seen where somebody just like, okay, well, this is what I'm getting ready to do. I'm getting ready to take on whatever this person is doing. How do you feel about that, knowing that there's somebody that, I don't want to say, y'all already know, anytime I do a show, it's real. I'm like, it's real. This is not like faking the funk coming up, I'm grabbing it, grasping at straws. How do you feel about the copycat syndrome?
It's, to me, and I know it goes on all the time. I mean, people have copycat, because I have copycat syndrome in my family, friends.
It's usually family. It's a lot of family. Have you noticed that?
A lot of family. Woo!
Yeah,
Yes.
I testify to that.
I'm like, it's usually family.
Yeah.
I want to put it out there, but yeah.
But you know what though? I had a situation like that where I was in the food business. Not because it was my focus, but I just happened to stumble into something.
Right.
And like one of my relatives came and he ended up building his whole life off of that. So you
inspired him.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He went to school and everything for
Oh
it.
my
You know what I mean?
gosh!
So it was cool to, don't get me wrong, if I could have kept doing it the way I wanted to do it and stuff like that, I'd probably still be doing it. I'd probably be in that getting it right now. But, the issue is that it wasn't my true pathway, which was funny because I ran into somebody who was like, "Man, I remember when you was slinging them hot dogs, yo." he was like,
they didn't know what you did before.
Yeah. He was like, "I've been watching you. I've been paying attention." I was like,
Hey man, it might work.
That's
work for you.
That's my street cred though. The hot dog, them chili fries and hot dog street cred.
But you bring up a good point. You said my true pathway. And you had the insight to ask that. A lot of people don't even know where to start with the question. What is my purpose? What is my true pathway? I ask people that all the time, and there's a very, very long pause.
And I'll tell you like this.
It's a long pause.
Long pause.
I can't even answer that question. Mm-hmm. I feel like sometimes my life is like kind of Forrest Gumpy. Like,
okay.
It's kind of like you be like,
a box of chocolate. Let me grab that one. See what I get. Right.
Yeah, it's all kind of like this similar. There's a similar theme, but it's sort of just like, oh, this is the right time to act because I feel passionate about this. But I've never so if I was to say there's a theme, it would be advocacy.
I would think so. Yeah, your pathway advocacy. I can see that all day.
But how that
totally can we? Look, he gonna fight for the people now. Mm-hmm. All the way to the even when the people. Look, the people went to their corner was like, listen, I don't want to do this no more. He's like, you going back in. Here go the towel and the water bottle. You going back.
Going back in. Yeah.
That's true though. The theme is advocacy. Mine is empowerment. A lot of people can't answer that though.
Wow. Okay.
Because I think so much we align what we make money doing based off of what that thing is. Like I was listening to this guy, and I hate that I can't remember his name. But anyway, he was talking about your what versus your why. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And like you have to know.
It's a book out there.
Yeah, it's probably the same guy. It's probably the same guy.
Can't think of it, but
comedian dude or something. I can't remember his name.
He's not a comedian, but there's a guy that wrote a book, and it's called Your What Versus Your Why. Mm-hmm. So it's like, and that's the question that you asked. I'm glad you brought that up in everything that you do, even when I write. So you said yours is advocacy. Yeah, you said yours was empowerment, and mine is inspiration. Mm-hmm. So when you write a paper, that's the main thing, even writing, period. What and your why. And what's most important is your why.
Yeah.
And there's an evangelist out there, she'll say, you got to separate your who from your do.
Okay.
Same thing, but that's
Yeah.
what she's saying. What you do is not necessarily who you are.
Right.
Yeah. Because this guy, he was aligning it like, yo, okay, she established what our whys are, but your what may be writing plays or doing a radio show.
What are you doing?
Yeah, but you have the spirit of that within that work.
Right.
Is this how you channel that energy?
Absolutely.
To the greater
Well said.
universe.
Exactly. Exactly. And I do. I the why is in the what. It's up to you to find it, though.
But that's the answer to your question. When you see these copycats, you see how we can just sit here and say what we believe our core is. If you don't know what your core is, you're going to follow a little bit of everything, even when you're trying to discover your core or how to channel that energy. You might find yourself on a coattail if you are not really certain where you're trying to stand. That's what you're seeing when you ask that question.
Because I think with the copycat thing, when I think about it from this conversation, I think that you have the copycat because everyone's trying to figure out the how. How do you do this?
like
how,
I said.
You know, how do you know? I mean, like, because like for me, like I like let's say if I was to talk to someone like when I was in the food biz, if I was to talk to someone who did, I don't know, they sold cars or something. My how would be like, well, how do you establish a customer base? You know what I mean? Because you figure, like, if you asking a car salesman how you do it, well, it's going to be like, well, you know, I make a really good deal with that one person, then they start telling other people. And so that plays a good role for me because it's like you make that one good meal and then they tell somebody else about that meal. You know, it may be different because the time lapse is going to be quicker for me versus him. Because he's selling a car, how often do people buy cars, you know?
Or to piggyback off of that, how do you get a dealer's license? How do you acquire your cars? What kind of things do you have to do legally? So people who don't know that are going to start emulating the people who do.
Okay.
That's why the clothing store may not be my passion, but at least I'm trying to follow somebody now who's knowing what to do. I don't know how to do it on my own, so I'm going to follow them.
And really, it's that talk. It's like that talk when you got to convince other people, like the other people to believe in your stuff. Because I remember, like, and I didn't have a big operation, but I talked to SCORE. That's like a seniors and executives and stuff like that. They'll give you some insight. And they was like, okay, you only got to put in this much. It's based off of your manpower, what you going to do. So they was like, go ahead and do it. But know that you are not going to make enough revenue to be able to hire 14 people or 5 people. You know what I mean? Like they was real with me, and this was like my third time going to them, and this is the only time that I even got a pass. You know, to say, well, you can do it, but it's a high risk based off of the industry, based off of the amount that your startup amount is, because they made a judgment call off of that. I was like, I started up off of like $371. You know.
All right, let's hear from the people from the street. What's up, Nick? Nick represent the people.
Yes, the
the
people.
peepists.
Power to the people.
Yes.
The copycats that I know are usually those that are trying to outdo the next person. So yeah, and that's bad. But they're trying to outshine. They want to be better than. Instead of, I mean, everybody should be equal. Everybody should be helping each other, especially now. If you see somebody struggling, pull them up. No, these fools are, like you said, crabs in the barrel. They want to kick you down and crawl over you and everything else. So, yeah, those are the copycats that I experienced, family included. Like I said, oh, she doing this, or yeah, she ain't gonna look right with that, or she's not gonna do this right. I could do it better.
So that's pretty much like what Rugo was saying. Like he started with the cooking, and then they went over the top. They done went to, hey, at least they educated themselves, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, you know, so, but I think the part that be the issue is if that other family member can feel your vibe, why not collaborate? You know what I mean?
And see, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Let's do this together. I mean, I can't get it. And Kim Ham, the go-to girl, she said it and explained it, but I'm just like, my mind is like not wired that way, because I want everybody to do good in whatever it is that you need to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and sometimes you'll have, okay, let's say for instance, there's, I saw on Facebook, he's a Facebook friend of mine out of Cleveland, he's an actor, Troy Harris. And he said, he was like, I can't say it verbatim because I don't have it in front of me, but it was pretty much people will sleep on you, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, people will sleep. He was like, people will sleep on you. Let them get their rest. And I loved it. Mm-hmm. However, you will have people that will say something, but the next person won't give that person credit. So I added to it a little bit because I understood what he was saying, and some people might miss it. And I just said, people, when people are sleeping on you, don't get discouraged. Let them get their rest. And I put his name to it because he said, I was like, that's good. But you'll have people out here that, I guess, back to what Kim Ham, the go-to girl, said, they want to feel validated. They're the ones that came up with it. Why not give that person credit? Why not say, hey, you know what? Because I asked, even last week I did, it was Women in Business Expo. It was a wonderful turnout, and it was over there.
Yeah.
In Austintown?
West Side.
West Side on Meridian?
Yes.
Yeah.
And, yeah, on Meridian. And it's like a long name. But 1944 South Meridian Road. I know the address. And it was amazing just seeing all these women doing it. And what shocked me is after I was talking to somebody that she was outside and she came up and was talking to me. She said she had no idea that this was going on. And her cousin was in there. So y'all know what? Look, y'all already know what this is about. Mm-hmm. Her cousin was in there as a vendor. The more the merrier. I was totally surprised because I'm like, huh? She said, I had no idea that this was going on. And she said, I was really hurt when she walked in there and she saw her cousin there and she just found out about it. And she said she talks to her cousin probably twice a week. Oh, but she never
invited her to
told her about it.
Yeah. I was surprised on another note was just that, like, how many of these micro businesses exist. That was overwhelming for me because the thing was that you could take that group of vendors and place them anywhere in these United States and they would make money.
Yes.
You know what I'm
saying?
And
they were all different. Did you see that?
It was all different. And that was the thing for me. I was like, look at this. Like, this should be something that's like done weekly. Like, they should have their own traveling flea market. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you're thinking that way. Yeah.
Because it was just like,
because that's what it was like.
Yeah, it was that impactful. Granted, I didn't get to see everything because I had some other stuff going on. But just knowing, like, some of the people, because one person I was like, oh, I didn't even know you was the one who did that. I knew you did this, but I didn't know it was to this level now. You know what I mean? People coming in. And, it was just like how they did it. Like, it was like the pride in the setup, the pride in the things that, like, nothing was shabby. Like, nothing about it was shabby.
It's kudos Lori Kellum who puts that together.
Like,
yeah.
Kudos, Lori.
Yes. And it's like, I thought that was awesome. And then, like, outside, she had different people that were outside that came later that wanted to do it. Thank God it was a sunny day. But I was just really outdone. And that girl was let me tell you, she was so hurt that she had how do you deal with a situation like that? When she said she talks to her like twice a week. And I didn't even really know her. And she just felt compelled to just talk to me. And, and I'm like, hey, I'm packing up my little stuff. And then she was talking and she said, no, you know what? It went this way. When she was walking away, she didn't look happy. When I was walking away, I was excited like you. Yeah. Like, this is amazing. And she didn't look happy. And I asked her, I said, you okay? And she said, yeah, I'm okay. I said, you sure? And then she shared. So we're outside of my car and we're talking. And when she shared it, I had to give her a hug. And I told her, I said, maybe she forgot. She said, I don't think so. I talked to her twice. That's when I found her. She said, I talked to her twice a week. Yeah. And that's when that Maya Angelou quote come in. When people show you who they are, believe them.
Believe them.
And it's just like, and I just told her, I said, don't take it. I said, everything, how did that serve you? And like I was sharing before, how did that serve you? It let you know, guess what? Boom, y'all not as close as you thought you were. And I hate to sound that way. I just keep it 100. Or maybe, and I said, I don't know that other individual because I wouldn't allow her to tell me who she was. I'm like, nah. She's like, when she had it, I was like, I don't even care. Let's deal with this situation and how it's affecting you. Yeah. And when she shared that, she said she was hurt and they were really close coming up. Yeah. And I got some relatives that I was close coming up with. They left me in Cleveland, okay? That's when I knew penis was powerful.
The power of the
The power of the penis, okay? It left me right in Cleveland and went on road off with a dude and said, huh? What I made? How am I gonna get home? You know what I'm saying? And that hurt me. So even though it's different, but it's the same, and it's the disappointment of I would never do this to you, and you did this to me, and my loyalty clearly is more. Is more. What's the word I'm looking for? My loyalty is more. My loyalty to you is more than your loyalty is to me.
Yeah,
that's it in a nutshell. Yeah. So, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that on the flip side of that, sometimes you can have someone who could measure. You ever had that one, like, you ever had this one person in your life who says that, hey, I'm trying to strive for this, I'm trying to strive for that, but you be seeing they output, and their output don't really match what they want to do. What they want to do.
Their dreams, the vision board is like this. And you be like, where is your vision board? Like, can I look at it? I don't have this in my head, huh?
I had a couple situations where I was a reference for some people really truly believing, you know? And then their output was like trash. You know what I mean?
And they ain't calling you no more. As soon as the job see you, they be like,
you know?
They was like, we thought this guy would give a good.
But the thing is like sometimes if you make those judgment calls, you could do somebody a disservice. Sometimes you just gotta, even if you know that they're not really trying to really seek their true potential, you just gotta tell them anyway, and they'll let you know where they land. You know, they'll either get involved or they won't. You know.
Okay, you want to say something? I know.
Girl, I don't know where to start. First
Go ahead.
of all, our strongest instinct is to what? Survive.
Right.
That is your number one strongest instinct. First of all, I don't even know where to start. Let me go back to this. First of all, just because you are related to somebody or just because you are friends with somebody, you've put them in a certain place where they necessarily don't have to fit. Just because you are related to somebody doesn't mean that we should expect certain things from them. Expectations will tie you up. And having been a business owner, and I'm talking like I've owned hair salons, and I've owned hair care businesses, and I've owned coaching businesses. So I've owned businesses registered with the state, real stuff. I had to learn that just because they are related to me does not mean that they are the customer for me. That does not mean that they are the support system for me from that perspective. And what we tend to do is place a higher value on that relationship from our perspective. But if that other person, in their perspective, is feeling somewhat threatened, the vendor had a sense of threat to her validation to share with the customer that she was going to be there. We take it personally, but it's not personal. Not from that perspective. Okay. And so, but because we see it a certain way, we are expecting to receive it from the other person who may not see it that way. And it's not about her not wanting that the customer, because I'm going to call her the customer. It's not that she didn't want that customer to know that what was going on, but she felt threatened by letting her know. Okay. She felt the threat. So that's why. It's not that she doesn't love her. It's not that she doesn't care. They talk all the time. And it's not necessarily that the vendor was a hater. Everybody has a weak spot. And telling that girl that she was going to be a vendor was her weak spot. And that girl felt, but I thought we were stronger than that. That's because the customer is looking at it through her mirror and the vendor is looking at it through hers. Sometimes we have to realize that all this mess ain't about us. It's about the person putting it out. Okay. And that's exactly what happened with that. The other thing is, when you have a business, like I just said, just because you my favorite cousin don't mean you my favorite customer. You may not want what I'm selling. Right. And we take all of that stuff personally. And you have to learn that personal is personal and business is business. And when you start to mix all that stuff up together, that's where things go wrong. When I had my home care business, which I sold for profit, by the way, that's just my advo because I help people start their business. Okay. But anyway, when we walked in that office, my mother was the administrator. My aunt was the quality improvement coordinator. My cousin was the supervisor. I might call her Ma, but she wasn't Ma between 9 and 5. I might call her aunt, but she wasn't aunt between 9 and 5.
Well.
I might call him cousin, but he wasn't cousin between 9 and 5. So I had some family who could get on that mission and roll with me, and I had some I had to fire.
Preach.
But I had non-family members that could roll with me. And I had non-family members that I had to fire. You have to learn how to pull emotion out when you're trying to pursue certain things in life. When your emotions get all caught up, you get what you're talking about. Sometimes it's not even about that. It's about that one single person's instinct to survive, worth, gratification, and control.
Okay. See
me?
me?
You see I was doing my ad lib.
I heard you. Well, he practicing.
Go ahead and preach.
Right.
That's my favorite thing. Like when somebody giving grace or praying. Like, because when I was a kid, it used to make me laugh when people would do that in church, right? So I just be like, when somebody be like doing grace, I'm like, well.
You're like, ain't nobody here to do it. That's me. That's my cue.
Right, so,
that's a good word. And I hear what you're saying. I do, and clearly it's out there. I'm like, let me move over. I'm like, we could split it. How can we both benefit?
Everybody is not secure in that position. You're looking at it through your eyes. When you can't connect with somebody, you got to look at their eyes.
Okay.
That's how you do that. I can't talk to you from Kim's perspective. If I'm trying to connect with you, I have to talk to you from Mel's perspective.
Oh, go ahead.
I want. This brings me to just.
Take your time.
Now this is in.
Go ahead, Pastor. Go ahead, Pastor.
We have an offering in a minute.
Listen, I'm about to head that up too. I'm about to head that up. Live studio audience, go get the roll crowd and cut it. Live one of them plates I got.
I can't.
Go ahead.
But it's like every time I would have an idea and throw it out to my cousins, everybody would have something to say. Everybody would, but let one of my other cousins, and I used to always say something to my mom about it, or like, and everybody thought, well, maybe, it's not like that. But let one of my other cousins come up with an idea or something. They praise that particular cousin. It wasn't until maybe a few years back my brother started noticing. And he had said something to me. He was like, I see what you're talking about now, because it's like every time you bring up an idea for something for the family to do, everybody got something to say, smart, especially two particular cousins that I be just wanting to.
So they don't receive it from you.
Right, but let other relatives that they real cool with, bring up the idea, it's full of praises. And I know the one time it was an idea for my whole entire family to make money. All I did was ask each of my cousins, because we had to get an attorney, each of my cousins, it's not going to cost none of y'all no more than $10 to get this attorney. Everybody had every excuse. Right now, if they each come, as many cousins as I got, if each of them would have came up with $10, we could have been rich right now. It was every kind of, I don't know.
And then what happened? Somebody else brought it up?
Yeah, they brought it up and they went to go to try to do it, and they even got the attorney and everything, but it didn't pan out the way they thought it was going to pan out. But I had already done my research and talked to an attorney that I already knew was a bulldog and was going to get stuff done. I don't know what attorney they went to, but it didn't get done. And at that moment I had to sit back and was like, that's what you get.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing behind imitated but never duplicated. That whole saying behind that, because like if you the brain trust of the idea, some people can't replicate that because you've already had foresight on like, okay, if this happens, this is what needs to happen. Like you know how the course, you know what I mean, and somebody else is just trying to pick up off of that idea. But
it's all the time with my family. All the time. And my brother was like, just stop trying. Just leave it alone.
I would say this. I wouldn't say stop trying. I would say tap into the people who haven't had the opportunity. Because sometimes you don't like there's people out there that may have some vested interest to do some things too, but don't really know who to go to because, like you said, your brother witnessed what happened to you, but your brother could be that next person. Like, it could be a small venture. You know what I mean? Like, it could be getting the family together for a Sunday meal, you know what I mean, or whatever. I mean, and I'm saying it like that just to say, how do you, okay, this is for me, growing up in the 80s, as a young man, you always had like these examples of teamwork.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like Voltron, you know? Like, and I bring that up because it's like, yeah, y'all all powerful in y'all same in your own element, but bring those elements together and bam, you got like a super robot killing road beasts and everything like that, you know? And I just kind of feel like that's sometimes that's the thing is like if you can find just that amount of people to say this is because I had a situation similar where it was like we had a family something or whatever and nobody was really buying what I wanted to do. You know what I did? I just made a newsletter. I only made one of them. Just one. It was a huge hit, though. You know what I mean? But the point was, I should have went back and kept doing it like I said I was going to do. But, you know, the thing with that was that if I would have probably kept that momentum going to write that letter regularly, even if it was quarterly or whatever, it probably would have did more for the whole family unit to have connectivity. Mm-hmm. And that was something that I didn't have to get anybody's approval. All I had to do was give them a piece of paper. Either they're going to read it or they ain't. Right. You know what I'm saying?
And then you don't have the feedback. They just read it. You get the feedback afterwards, but at that moment. Okay.
But when you start talking about, oh, this is the people that graduated, this is people that did this or whatever, that I mean, I'm saying that was just my thing. But whatever your thing is, you may be able to still do that because like we know in Voltron, only certain people can control the lions. You know what I mean? I'm going too deep into the lore. But if you think about Thor, you got to be worthy to wield that hammer. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You know, which is a whole nother thing.
A whole nother thing. Like he said it like we ain't going there. No, we ain't going there. We ain't going there. I heard what she said, and I have to agree with Rugal as far as like a solution, as far as, you know, and I always have Nick. I don't know if you guys know Nick, but she's like the people, the voice of the people, the real people. Because we got the conservative up in this mug. We got, look, another conservative.
Yeah, I'm moderate.
You moderate.
I'm moderate.
Moderate, severe.
I'm moderate.
I'm mild. I'm mild. You moderate. You could be severe.
Okay.
Kim Ham, yeah, she's severe. Like, let's pick up the upper class people. Kim Ham, what's your thoughts? And then we got the people. Yeah. The people and the people
with no filter.
Right. I'm like, hold on. We ain't got that. Hold on. Yeah. I want to talk about this real quick. We're going to get into these hot topics and then we'll come back and revisit it and we'll have a solution for you lovely people. Is that cool? Yeah. And we're going to talk about what about your friends?
What about your friends?
Yeah. They stand. Oh, you can't even see me. I'm like, hey, there you go.
Well, they turn their backs on you.
Yeah. We're going to talk about the friends and how do you know what's a good friend and what's not a good friend. And different scenarios of that situation. I haven't done the shop talk question of the week because they all pretty much are the same and I'm like bored and tired, of the same thing. Let's talk about some substance and not the same basic thing. But here we go. Hot topic. There was a young lady who hit for $188 million.
Lord.
Single mother.
I'll be her friend.
You'll be her friend?
Whatever her definition
well, listen, the pastor sued her.
I remember that story.
You remember that, right?
Yeah. They're wrong.
The pastor sued her for her winning ticket. Go ahead.
Because he said something about her tithe. Listen, if I'm winning a bunch of money, I'm going to tithe my church.
He sued her for tithes?
Yes, he did. That's what it was.
Did she sign a contract to pay tithes?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Well, let me think about that.
What your contract because when you join the church,
not the pastor nor the church.
When you join the church,
your contract is to God.
Yeah, let's think about that.
But listen, let's think about this.
Do we get a case?
Here, he is crazy. I'm about to pass a collection plate around here. See what's going on. Yes, here's the thing though, and I'm with you. Is there a contract? Here's the deal. That's gambling. And don't they preach against gambling? Mm-hmm. So I'm like the dope dealer. You going to take the dope dealer's money? You going to take the, You know what I'm saying?
More
Like,
of them do than they realize, and some of them realize it and don't care.
okay, look
The
at him.
people talking right there.
The people talking.
Integrity.
And
I actually heard a pastor say, I'm not going to advocate gambling and I'm not going to advocate playing the lotto. He said, however, if you win, I will gladly accept my 10% for the church. And he said that from the pulpit.
But you know what's so funny about that?
But are you obligated? Negative.
okay.
No.
Maybe the pastor was taking care of a single mother all that time. Like, here you go, you coming to the church, you coming to the church, you come to. Maybe I'll be like, here, I'm paying you back. Bye.
But you know what?
I mean, yeah, we don't know the specifics.
There
of
are,
it, but still.
there are.
Because what he did in that act. Okay, I visited one of the church I grew up in. One of the churches I grew up in, and it was so funny because in the church they still do this thing. I forgot what they call it, but I started saying all the words and stuff. Like it just hit me. Like I was like, oh man. But the point is that they used to always say, "Bless those who gave, and for those who had a heart to give."
Right.
You know what I mean? And so when a preacher comes out there and he says, "I'm going to sue this person because they didn't do this certain thing," there's a lot of people wavering on faith. And that is the type of action that supports people saying, why do I want to be a part of a congregation?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you gotta endure that. Because I think about that. Like, I think about, like, if I won, and this was early on, I used to think about what I would do. I would go, like, I would say I would visit, like the churches that's like got like the 7 members. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then I'll be in there and then they just in a collection plate, just put like 10 grand in the plate and then leave out. You know what I mean? And then you would see whatever they do with it. Either somebody gonna use it to build up the church or somebody gonna use it still for church. But that's not my thing is to give, And I think by him, he could have easily came to her and said, hey, you came into this wealth, and, this is what the church needs, you know what I mean? Or this is what, whatever, but I don't think that I don't really know everything around it, but from what we're saying, I don't see how he could sue her for that. Unless she took the dollar out the collection plate.
Right. A long time ago, we said that we got the tape.
Hey, like he was part of the usher board and everybody put in $1 to get the ticket. You know what I mean? She like, it was my winning numbers, but I put $1 in,
Right. Here's the thing. This article, if you guys want to go read up on it, it was back in 2015. And she was working 2 jobs. I want to say one was at Walmart, one was at McDonald's.
She was on a TV show, wasn't she?
Yes.
Okay.
Ayanla.
Yep. I saw it.
And, yep, see? Mm-hmm. And she kind of, I think her son, one of her children ended up having cerebral palsy. So she was like trying to make things happen. And she just couldn't believe that she won. She came up, boom, decided to go out on a limb, play the lottery, and she hits. Now, here's the problem. She says that even on that show, it was like a nightmare for her.
Winning the lottery?
Winning the lottery was
I'll
a
take
nightmare.
that nightmare.
You'll take it?
She can have my dream for that.
A lot of lottery winners say that they won that money and it's just been nothing but a nightmare ever since they won the lottery, especially for that much money. I've heard a lot of people say that won.
But I think it's like that kind of thing where like you gotta like let's say you got a person that's drug addicted. They say usually when that person has a better chance of staying in recovery if they don't like go to the same places they went before and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I kind of think the same success is in having those lottery dollars is almost the same. Like not that you can't go back to your home, but you may have to look at it like, because I got a plan.
Okay.
When I win, my plan is I'm going away for about 2-3 months. And then I'll come back, with like, okay, this is what I'm doing for this person. This is what I'm doing for this person. This is what I'm doing for this group of people. Because I think like if you in my family, you over 70, I don't think like you shouldn't be paying the mortgage anymore if you're paying the mortgage. You got whatever that issue is, we're going to alleviate those things. Okay. But if you under 21, well, my thing is like, okay, here go this college fund for any training or whatever y'all want to get done. That kind of stuff. And then like if you working age, let's sit down and talk about what businesses we can get in here to build the wealth. We may be able to get some handouts in some cases, because I want to do a game show.
That's what you want to do?
Like,
Okay.
you do a game show like, oh, you can win, $10,000 in prizes or whatever, whatever. But that's just my fun nature part of it. But really just having a plan on how that money's going to be spent.
Now, what she end up doing? She ended up setting up college funds for her 4 children.
Right on.
She got a house, all that other stuff. Allegedly, she went to the pastor for advice. And she didn't take that advice. And clearly, before she knew it, she didn't have what she said she was going to give.
So she burned through it.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. But at least her kids are set up. She got that there. But my thing is, like, how can you be upset? Did you plan on her paying her tithes? Was that for the church, or did you plan on spending it? That's the way I'm looking at it. That you get that offended where you feel like you want to sue her. You gonna sue her for her money because she ain't giving it to the church? I'm so confused. Help me out here.
She hit for 180.
It was over that amount.
Oh,
I want to say like 584 or something like that.
So she got 188.
She got 188.
And she blew that?
I don't know if she blew all of it. She got a house, she got her stuff. But my question is, how can you sue?
Yeah.
Like, what did she went and got a beautiful home and cars and stuff, and I guess she was living in a trailer before, and like, who wouldn't want a house for their kids?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You remember this house on the show?
I remember the show.
Oh, that's her house?
That was her house.
Oh.
And the kids they was leaving toys out. Remember that? They was all out there, so they kind of just...
all kinds of
Yeah,
stuff.
she bought all of that stuff for them, but I guess they didn't appreciate it.
But her man was getting ready to go to the pen, and
Yeah.
she was trying to make provisions for that. And
Go ahead. Yeah, I think that's what it boiled down to.
I saw, because I saw the show, and I saw how she hit the issues. But your question is the very question as to why people don't go to church. How do you sue somebody for what you are waiting for God to tell somebody to freely give? Now, I understand that your 10% comes off the top of your earnings, but then there are people who will say, but if you earned it doing something that you told me was illegal, how you gonna sue me for it?
See, and that's where I'm at.
If you earned it off of something that was illegal, how can you sue me for it?
That they say is wrong.
Because they tell you not to gamble. They tell you not to play the numbers. They tell you this, and then they want 10% of it. Now, how do you take that to the street and make that person come to church? What do you do with that?
I wonder, like, is there a deeper meaning to that gamble, though?
Why? Because the Catholics always got bingo. Come on.
Well.
Yeah, we got 2 of them up there. We got associate minister over there. We got 2 of them now.
Because I think about it, like, is it the bird in the hand versus 2 in the bush mentality? Like, let's say I'm doing something that's perfectly legal, but I keep trying to get the bird in the two in the bush instead of building the one that's in my hand. Isn't that a gamble?
That's a gamble too.
I just wonder how deep it goes.
Look, I'm like that's a gamble.
Like, that's a whole nother show.
Like, is it the
right?
Is it the spirit?
The rabbit's
of risk?
girl.
You know what I mean?
The rabbit hole.
Yeah.
What you gonna do?
I think that he should not have sued her.
Yeah.
There's nothing that anybody can say to me that would make me change my mind.
Yeah, he shouldn't.
I
don't see what grounds he had to sue her on.
Even if she signed a contract, there's a whole message that goes with this whole conversation. How do you sue anybody as a member of your church? That means you can sue every single member who doesn't tithe. I mean, what are you saying?
But
listen, they be putting people out the church, sending letters if they don't come. Did you know that?
Let's say
look at the people.
Yes.
The people. We gonna get our shirt to say the people.
But
there's a whole discussion here.
But what if there was a larger agreement between the two? Maybe
what kind of agreement?
Well, let's just say she came to him for counsel, and he said, "Well, the church needs a new parking lot." And she's like, "Oh, don't worry, I got it."
So if I get a $5,000 bonus on my job and I come and talk to him, is he gonna sue me for that? Is this because of the amount of money she had? No. What's the principle?
I'm not
here?
saying that. I'm just saying, what if she said that there was something that she was going to do
and didn't follow through?
Is she the first person?
But Kim Ham, the go-to girl, the businesswoman. What kind of contract is that?
If there is a
A
written
verbal contract, which can be
a municipal court.
hey, which can be enforceable by law. So
you about to turn me into the people. No. No.
I'm just saying. She said she's gonna buy those new freezers.
How many other people say they gonna do something? He ain't suing them.
But you know what's interesting is I know somebody. Listen, they didn't even have this type of money. They had bought some tickets for a banquet for their kids. Right, going to the banquet, and these other folks said, "Okay, well, I'm gonna pay you when I get it." So they took their bill money and paid it. This is a little different. And then those people said, "Oh, I ain't gonna make it." Huh? Now, whose fault is that? That would be the person
pay their bills.
What she said?
Prioritize where your money is going.
But she thought she was gonna get it back, like he's saying. Like they promised.
Did y'all hear what I said 10 minutes ago? Just because certain people are in your lives, I mean, you should expect them to see it through your eyes.
Okay, then.
Now I'm trying to tell you, you got to think now. If I don't get this back, is it you don't give away anything that you can't do without if you don't get it back?
Preach.
Now, ain't that the truth? You just gave it to them. If you ain't got it to give, you ain't got it to loan.
Because there's certain people. I remember somebody asked me this, like, "Can I borrow $20?" I was like, "I got 10 for you."
Okay.
I had the 20, but they wasn't good for 20.
That was good for 10,
and didn't pay me back the 10.
See, and that's why you
They
said
had
10.
an issue with it.
What, they got mad at you?
Yeah, you could.
What is that about?
Hey, like I remember my dearly departed cousin. He said, if you could pay $20 and have somebody who negative out of your life forever, it's money well spent.
Now that's the truth. How much do I have to pay? It only cost me $10 to get rid of you.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because guess what? I'm never loaning you money.
It's over.
Ever.
If you can't do 10, it's over.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Nick? If you don't have it to give?
I just don't have it to give.
Yeah.
Because that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, because somebody asked me for some money yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, can't do nothing for you on those finances. Nothing."
But you're there to support them any other way.
If you need a ride,
I got
give you a ride as long as they ain't over 5 miles.
Now, as long as they over 5 miles,
It
be
can't
like,
be
where you
over
going?
5 miles, and it got to be in my direction.
I'm going that way.
You talking about going south, and I'm going west. Oh, no. Sorry.
So, now you said just like $10. Is that person, do you look at it like, okay, I'll help you with anything else when you're supporting somebody? Because I talked about that on the friend type, on good friend, bad friend, be inspired. Are you more apt to support them without finance or with finance? It depends on the situation.
Sometimes you're in a situation where, like, this is where I found, okay, this is not a friend thing, but somebody might be panhandling, and they're like, "Oh, I want food," or whatever. And so instead of me giving them $1, I say, "I'll buy you a sandwich." I'm coming out way more money
by
buying them a sandwich. You know what I mean? But the issue is that it's my money, and I choose to spend it that way. And I know the only thing either you're gonna try to resell that sandwich, or you're gonna eat it. You ain't got, you know what I mean? You got a choice. You know what I mean? And then the thing was, what I found out was that it's a lot of hungry people. You know what I mean? Like I can make a judgment call and say that person just wants his money. I remember one time, one thing changed my life on that whole perspective. I was at a corner store, and there was a guy outside the store. Didn't look like he belonged, and he was just like, "Man, I'm hungry." And I was like, "Man, if you want a beer," I'm young and stupid. I'm like, "If you want a beer, hey, sometimes you gotta have a beer." You know what I mean? I was like, I'm good with that." And he was like, "Nah," he's like, "I'm diabetic." He's like, "I don't drink." He's like, "But I'm hungry." And so that made me change my whole perspective on that, and I bought him pizza from the place.
And that's bad for a diabetic.
What you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
Hey, we're in the corner of Warren and Cohasset or something. No, not Warren and but Warren and Glenwood.
Hilarious, because I was on Glenwood and down the hill by, what was that barbershop? Listen, down by Brayton area.
Yeah.
Magby's was across the street. So you know what store I was at, right? I'm sitting there, and here's somebody begging. My experiences with the panhandler is always bad. I'm sitting there, he was like, "I'm really hungry." And I was like, He was like, "I ain't ate all day." And I remember my response, because I was with my girl CJ, and I was like, "All day?" I was like, "I ain't ate in like 2 hours, and I'm starving." So I'm walking out. I'm walking in. I give him 50 cents, right? And this is back in the day. I'm still like cheap. I'll be like, let me see how much spare change. I gave him 50 cents. Man, listen, by the time I go in there and I get my little Troy Farm, I was eating that barbecue chips, right?
All right.
I'm in the line behind him. Guess what he asked for? Let me get 10 fireballs. Well, my 50 cents. I thought he was hungry. Why did he get a 50-cent hot dog? 10 fireballs.
Them fireballs probably go a long way.
Listen. Now I'm sitting there thinking like, I got 10 fireballs.
That
Listen.
is such a middle class mindset.
Yeah, them 10 fireballs.
And he was like, let me get 10 fireballs. I looked, I was like, dang. CJ started laughing. She was like, he must like fireballs. I was like, I gave him my 50 cents. I thought he was going to get a 50-cent hot dog. That was on the thing. He said he was hungry. Mm-hmm. But I guess if you look at it now, look, 25 years later. Yeah. And you be like, fireballs, that do last longer. Yeah. Sugar be up. How, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's survival eating.
Yeah, it's totally survival eating.
That was his survival instinct.
Now, the one dude go sit there and we had McCartney McDonald's. Mm-hmm. And he said he had a sign, "We'll work for food." So I go through the drive-thru. I got my daughter in the car, and I get an application. So I come back around. He said he will work for food. Listen. So I'm like, I'll help you fill it out. I got stone cold cussed out. He cussed me out. How you say you will work? I was like, well, here you go. We'll work for food. And this is a food place. Like, you will work for food.
And you can
fill out the application.
From time
right. To time. Man, he cussed me out. Courtney still talk about that. She's like, remember you got cussed out by that? I was like, and I said, I'll help you because I'm thinking, well, maybe he don't know how to do it. I'll help you fill it out. Like, cuss me straight out. Yeah. I was like, I don't do good with the panhandlers. And then the one down the street, then this is the last one, right on, what is that, Albert Street and...
The Garland?
No, Albert down at the corner. McGuffey.
Yeah, okay.
The gas station right there, not the one that they got now. This lady came, and she was like, hey, she was like, you got any spare change? You got any? Well, she asked me for $5, and then she went to $1. I was like, $5. I was like, I'm still waiting for you to pay. Talking about, can I borrow $5? I was still waiting for the last $5 that you borrowed from me last week. Walk straight away. So that's my thing. I'll be like, And some of these people, these panhandlers, that's their job. To just go out. So you said you buy food, either they ain't gonna sell, they probably toss and they'll be like, well, no, they'll be like, well, I might as well just go ahead and eat it since I got it. So that's my new outlook on
that happened to me in Georgia. It was late night. I was going through Crystals. I got something to eat from Crystals and
that's a burger joint, right?
Okay.
Sort of like the North has White Castle.
Okay.
South they got Crystals.
Okay.
I'm going around and as I was getting ready to leave, there's this guy sitting there and he just sitting there looking all raggedy, and he had a little sign with him, and something just hit me and was like, because usually I'll keep going, because like you said, I know how the panhandlers do. He didn't ask, he didn't stop my car, because usually they'll stop you too. He didn't stop, he was just sitting there with his little sign, just laying there, and I just happened to glance at it, so what I did was just went back around the corner, bought him something to eat, and he wasn't expecting that, especially when he seen me come back around. I stopped, and I was like, excuse me, here you go. That man was so thankful, he was in tears.
That is so nice.
But see, the thing is, I usually don't do that, but for some reason, when I went by and I seen him, and he didn't have his sign sitting there, he was just sitting on the sidewalk like this, and the sign was sitting there, and like I said, it was like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I was like, let me go back around the corner and get this man something to eat. And I usually, like I said, I don't
that is so nice. See what I'm saying? That y'all some nice people.
I got a story. It's not a real story, but it's fitting. If I
what is not a real story?
like it's not
a story is fiction or nonfiction, but it's not a real.
Okay, this is not a nonfiction account.
Okay,
all right. So I think what happens is sometimes like we think we know somebody's needs and we never really ask them what it is.
Okay.
So I will say it in story form. So, at my church, we like good people. We all get together, and this is one family that comes there. And, we dropped off the kids one day from a program. We noticed that, wasn't a refrigerator in the house. And it was, bags of, McDonald's, stuff like that or whatever. So, I went back and I said, telling it to the church, not to be like, oh, this is what's going on, but, how can we collectively help this family?
Okay.
And so somebody comes with that idea, let's buy them a refrigerator. So, like the good church people we are, we buy the refrigerator, we get all the groceries and stuff like that because we ask the kids, like, what's the stuff y'all like? So we got bags of groceries in this refrigerator we presented to the family and stuff like that. And then so about a week or two later, we go back to pick up the children, and we notice the refrigerator is not there.
Ooh. What?
Yeah, so we're like,
no, what?
We're like, well, what's going on with this refrigerator? How could she not keep that refrigerator? She must be a bad parent, And so the story came out. We had a conversation with her. She's like, hey, I was okay with being able to provide food, but my issue was paying rent. And that refrigerator that I sold kept a roof over our heads for the next 2 months. So even though we had the heart to give, we didn't truly assess the situation, and we wanted to give based off of what we thought the value system should be for that family, and not really knowing what that need was.
Wrap it up, honey.
That's what I just said. We look at people through our eyes instead of looking at them through theirs.
Yeah.
And look, I had a different ending to that story in my mind. I was like, wonder what was going on because I'm ready to just problem solve.
I already knew he was gonna say she took it and did something else. And
See, I didn't even think of that. You know why? Because of the way I think. Guess what I thought? I ain't think nothing that she did terrible.
Drugs.
No, I didn't think anything bad. I was thinking maybe they didn't have any electricity.
There you go. That could be one thing.
And that's where I was at. I was like, oh man, they can't even keep all the food went bad. Look, I done wrote the end of the story. I was like, all the food went bad. They had no electricity.
We tell stories through our eyes about other people.
Okay.
Through their eyes about themselves.
And the analogy of that is that, let's say your rich uncle leaves you a Picasso painting worth $4 million.
Okay.
Do you keep the painting or do you get the $4 million for it?
Values.
You know what I mean? Like, am I in a situation to have a $4 million painting, or am I in a situation to have $4 million?
Do I care about this painting that much?
Right.
Do I care about my uncle that much?
Do I validate him enough to keep it, or do I validate me enough to sell it?
And then you gonna get mad at one day when you come in the house and your door kicked in and everything gone, including that $4 million painting. You be like, dang, I could have sold it and got the money for it, been out of this neighborhood.
The voice of the people. So we are
the people.
Yeah, so we already know the people is selling it. Mm-hmm. The people like, they go $4 million, I could roll up out of this neighborhood. That's hilarious.
But see, I know I have a couple aunts and uncles that know my mindset, know what I'm thinking. So if they leaving it for me, they're leaving it for that purpose.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
If they are going to leave that painting for me, they're leaving it on the sole purpose of they want me to sell it.
Because they see it through Nick's eyes.
They know. That's why they ain't listen to her when she comes to the family meetings. They're like, no. Now, what's your idea? Honey, who else got an idea up in here?
Especially my one aunt. She
knows that you're going to sell it.
She knows me. And that if she's leaving it, that's the purpose she's leaving it to me for, even if she don't know. Her, she'll tell me. But that will be her sole purpose. And now that's why I said if I ever want any type of money or anything, because she's the one that will give to everybody, no matter. Sometimes she'll just come and write a $200 check just because. Baby, I've been thinking about you. I know you going through something. Even if I don't tell her, she'll call me. I got something for you coming to the house. It usually be some food or some money. And she would definitely be, even though I'm not her child, she has 2 children. One that's very well off that does good, but she does good for everybody too. She would be one of the ones that I would definitely set up and take care of, period. Because she's older now. She ain't going to want the money because they got money. Well, I bet you I'll buy her a house. They won't have to pay no mortgage. Anything that needs to be fixed will get fixed. Something like that.
Yeah. Okay, well, the moral of this story is don't give Nick no heirlooms.
No family heirlooms.
Keep it, because y'all already know. It's gone. Good day. Go ahead.
What if it's the family's pulled pork recipe? You don't even give it. You gonna sell it?
You gonna sell it? You gonna sell it?
No.
The pulled pork recipe. She gonna be like, y'all want the recipe?
Make money on?
Y'all want the recipe?
Like the 11 herbs and spices right here.
If I can make money on it, that's staying in my pocket right there. Yeah. I'll sell it to you. I'll sell the product to you, but you ain't getting the recipe.
Shoot. You can make money off that painting, though.
Right.
You set you up a little tour, go to every museum with that painting.
It's gone.
And let them borrow it for a minute or two.
All right, let's finish with the hot topics. Kelly Clarkson. I don't know if you guys know. She was hosting the Billboard Awards, the Billboard Music Awards, and she won American Idol. If you guys don't remember, Kelly Clarkson. Here's my question to you: when you are a performer, Nick, y'all, they worked with me. When you are a performer, does the phrase "the show must go on" does that ring true? There's some controversy. Yes, Nick says yes.
Yes.
The show must go on. Does it ring true?
Yeah.
I've seen the show go on. You got Roger Troutman and Zap without Roger.
The show is going on.
You got what's his name? Rick James band going around without Rick James. You know what I mean? Like
we work with Mel, so definitely the show is gonna go on.
The Temptations without is there any original Temptation left?
Here's the controversy. She was sick. But she's a performer. She was in pain. She still hosted it. Soon as she hosted it, she went straight to the hospital, and she had to get her appendix removed.
Oh well, she was on a different level of sick.
And I'm saying for real, I ain't talking about no cough cold like I got right now.
Yeah, but that was she should have she was having pains where she should have went to the hospital anyway.
And she continued. You know, so some people feel like she almost killed herself. She could have.
Yeah.
Right.
But she is more like, okay, this is what I need to do. The show must go on. So the controversy is, some people feel as though that when she was in pain, she should have, even though nothing happened, she should have just left at that moment and they could have figured it out. But she was in a contract.
Right.
Look back to the contract.
Yeah.
With them that she decided, okay, I'm going to wait and then go straight. Do you think, it worked out in her favor?
It was appendectomy. What is it? What
Appendectomy.
Yeah.
Good job.
Well, the thing for me is that that's an emergency situation.
It was. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But she didn't know. Go ahead. What'd you say?
I was getting ready to say if she didn't know she was having an
Yeah, she didn't know. It was just pain.
With that is when you're in show business, you're in a contract. You can get sued for breach of contract. So that's probably what she was thinking. I'm in pain, but I have to finish this because she would be out of however much money that they want to sue her for. So she probably wasn't trying to be bothered with that. She just worked through her pain.
It probably had to be a clause in there for
But she didn't know because with appendicitis, you don't know.
It just hits.
So if she goes to the ER and it's a bad case of gas and now she breached the contract, she has to deal with that. She chose not to do that.
But she could have went to the doctor. This is not when I look at this kind of person, this is not this is like a person where Michael she don't got Michael Jackson
I'm
money.
like, don't you dare compare her to no Michael Jackson.
And what I'm saying, she don't got Michael Jackson money, but the thing is that they could have found a doctor
to come in here and assess her.
Yeah, it could have been you know what I mean, because it was this girl I went to school in elementary school, and she was throwing up for a week. You know what I mean? Then she finally went to the doctor, and it was her appendix. You know what I mean, or whatever. But it was going on for a week.
But even if they had done that, she's still in this contract, and if he would have made her leave right then and there, she still would have been in breach of a contract.
Well, I'm thinking the symptoms couldn't have just started right at showtime.
Sometimes
they do.
Sometimes
when it's your appendix, it can burst like that, and that's
you just get sharp pain.
Sometimes the pain is on the opposite side of the appendix, and if it could have been a lot of factors in that.
Right. So, but she did it and she survived it. Thank God. Moving on.
All right.
There were twins, premature newborn twins. One was dropped in the delivery room on its head.
I saw that video.
The father was videoing the delivery and caught it.
Dropped it on the table.
Wait, when the child was being delivered,
yes,
they dropped the kid?
After they took holding the baby.
Yeah, it was two of them, twins. And so the father was videoing the child, the birth. And now, he said the article read, once he told the doctor didn't even say anything after, and then he showed the doctor the video. Now, this particular newborn has some cerebral bleeding.
Oh, yeah. So that's what they talking about when you have a birth defect that's caused by, delivery or whatever. Yeah,
so,
I don't know how they word it, but...
How would you feel if a doctor dropped your baby and didn't even acknowledge the
And I
fact
got
that
it on film.
yeah, you got it on film, but didn't even acknowledge and say, "Oh my gosh!" Like, how often does that happen in the delivery room? It happens often.
Yeah. I mean, I would. Woo. I mean, the whole thing with that is you got it on film. You got all the proof you need. All you need to do is find any lawyer to win you all the money you need for that kid.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like, it's terrible that it would happen, but because my family is.
You figure the baby's slippery. You got those gloves on.
Yeah, but but that's like saying like.
Not saying it's okay, but it happens.
The equivalent of this, and this may be shallow to say this, is like this: if it's raining, if it's a professional football player and it's raining, and they got to take a snap and throw a pass down the field. We can't really say, well, you slipped. It slipped out your hand when you threw it. Like your job is to make that pass, And so my thing is like, your job. You only got one job in the delivery room. You ain't even pushing. She pushing. All you gotta do is catch. You just gotta slide it on out. That's your one job. That's your one job to do.
Your one job.
Your one job.
And he should have caught the baby. Here's the thing he said.
I didn't know he was African American. That was probably part of the issue. No,
what? Oh,
because the thing is like
you heard it like I did. Look, Kim Hamner goes to girl just jumped up out her chair like. Listen, he did. Wait a minute, but his face was so serious. He was like, "Oh, that was probably
why they did it. Why? Not that why they dropped the kid, but why it went without being like
national news. Yeah,
because the medical industry has had a history of mistreating black people.
There you go. He put it out there.
Period. I mean,
and the father said he just wanted an apology from the hospital, from the doctor. Listen,
I want that ass.
Ah!
I mean, I'm saying like, I went to your realm.
He
said just in case that there were long term effects.
Jesus take the wheel because everybody would be in the hot
You
seat.
you just establish that lawsuit to begin because they are not going to take responsibility for something they do wrong because you know what they're going to say? It's the practice of medicine.
Well, they do say that.
You practice, then shit. Who gets paid for practice? You ain't in the NFL, the NBA. Right. Like, I'm coming to you for a procedure, not for you to be practicing a procedure. like when they tell me like we gonna have a student there, I was like, so is this gonna be half off? This is gonna be half price?
That's what you gonna say? That's what you want to know?
Is it gonna be half price? Then hell no. You have your student on somebody else.
Not okay.
Like I came for I'm paying professional dollars.
Not for somebody to be teaching and learning on you.
I ain't paying for. Look, this is the only industry where you go to your like you got teachers do like what do they call it when
internship?
They call it a teaching something. I forgot what they call it when they do like they have to teach in a classroom for a minute. They observe. I forgot what they call it. But anyway, the point is that they don't get paid for that. They're actually paying for that experience because you get to pay to go to school to say, okay, I reached the point of being able to do this teacher, whatever they call it, experience. I can't remember. It's all the time. So, but in the medical field, it's like you can be licensed as a doctor, not be skilled in the profession that you want to go into that specialty, but I got to pay you full price.
So you won't half off.
I won't half off.
Now you're right on that.
If you practicing medicine, I won't half off. I want the dude that's doing it, not the practice.
So you like a sample. Like you're not like a sample at Sam's Club. Just go ahead, okay?
Yeah.
Let me taste it first before I go in.
Exactly.
So you need to get or free.
I had a doctor. She got mad at me. She said, "Did you just Google that?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I went to an academic source to get this information. They said this is how it should be done." So is y'all doing it like that? Well, we better just do what we know how to do. I'm like, well, what is it that you know how to do? I don't get.
So they mad at Google.
They mad at me because I did. She's like, yeah, I'm Google. I'm supposed to trust you? I don't know you.
And that's
I'm supposed to trust you. Like I don't even go buy Vienna sausages without researching what the best brand is.
Oh my goodness!
You know what I'm saying? I won't get the.
Let me finish this. A former NICU nurse told the family, listen, former, you heard former now. She told them that this is common for premature babies and won't lead to any long-term effects.
Yeah, right. No,
Lies.
The lies.
That's what I'm telling you. They'll tell you anything. They'll tell
well,
you
guess
anything.
what? He got proof. He
Yeah.
got video.
Like with the situation with my doctor, I had surgery with. I asked him. I said, "When has this ever gone wrong for you?" And he told me, and I was like, "Okay," because I can appreciate somebody that'll tell me the truth about their experience, because he know I ain't gonna never do that again. You know.
So are you gonna ask the doctor? Be like, now, were you an A student or a C student?
Hey, I might have to ask you that. But I'm asking you based off of, like, give me some stats.
Yeah.
If it's good enough for a baseball card, it's good enough for a doctor. Let me know your stats. What's your stats?
But you know what?
Right. Because the stats on the baseball card down, and you get some gum.
Right.
You can get some gum too.
Sometimes them C students turn out better work than them A students.
Yeah, but like I said, I want to see the stats.
Like they say, book smart, but no common sense.
Now you do have that. Now let's talk about the guy in Boardman High School teacher. This like right next door.
Mm-hmm.
The Boardman teacher who allegedly, since we ain't gonna ever know, who had a relationship with an 18-year-old student. How y'all feel about that? We ain't gonna talk about what he did. How do you feel about that? Because this has been going on for eons, where teachers are with students.
It's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
it's wrong. Like you get
even her being 18.
But I'm like, is that like a true 18 if you still in school though? Like, cause you still
right.
like, aren't you still like I don't know if this is right. Or
And he
wrong.
looked to be all 20.
Yeah, but like for the statute part of it though, like if I'm sending my kid to school to learn, I don't need the teacher giving them some extra learning. You know what I'm saying? I don't need that extra learning.
If it's an A and P,
Yeah, you know
an A&P teacher, anatomy and physiology, I don't need that.
I don't need that. I don't need. I haven't sent my kid to school for that.
Okay.
You just like really went against what the whole profession stands for. You don't get a degree in education, especially at the secondary level, and say, well, I'm gonna try to find the love of my life. You know what I mean? That ain't what you do.
I don't think they don't go in and say, I'm gonna find the love of my life.
But the thing is that he knew that was wrong. He didn't take her to the restaurant.
How we know? Go ahead. What you got to say about that?
He takes her prom.
McDonald's like R. Kelly.
Look, your president bringing McDonald's in.
Right, bringing McDonald's in.
Was he gonna be her prom date? But you know what though? Bill Clinton ate McDonald's though, so he went jogging and he would go eat his McDonald's.
Look at
and then he had to cut out the whole McDonald's thing. So no shade on McDonald's.
You know, watching these Lifetime movies and watching television and seeing this happen is like, is this for real? People really do this? And then knowing and thinking back on some teachers that I knew, and then they end up marrying one of my classmates. And I was shocked. You know, they ended up having children the whole night, but they didn't bring that out because it wasn't exposed. This seems to be like a common thing.
Listen,
and they were in high school. Go ahead.
My high school, there was a female teacher that graduated with my mother that was messing around with a lot of the guys, like a couple grades ahead of me and some, my age or look.
But why?
For years, and those were the ones that could do anything in her class, didn't have to study, but always got an A. Everybody
they probably was doing. They probably was performing. They probably was performing. So they probably was A material.
It's wrong. Whether it's
it's not. So that's
and it's wrong. Whether it's the male and the female student, or the female teacher and the male student, it is wrong. She should, and because
you saw favoritism,
right? Favoritism, but because they were children, and she
there
knew
we go.
better.
Okay.
She knew better. She should be in a hot seat and be in jail just like the rest of them. I don't care if she about 72 years old. It don't make no difference.
She's 72 now? Oh, man.
She graduated with my mama.
They going
72.
Look, they going to go back like Bill Cosby.
Yeah, she hasn't been teaching for a while, but that's what she was doing with a lot of male students. No. That's what she was doing with a lot of
the people said that's what she was doing.
That's what she was
did
doing.
The people see her?
Couple people did.
A couple people did.
I'm like, did the
acts
people
would
see her?
take place in the classroom after school.
Oh, they got cameras now. She must be 72.
All I'm saying is Van Halen, Hot for Teacher. You know that song. That
And
one of
ain't
the
no
best
way
drummer-
on God's green earth, just like with the R. Kelly situation, that the ones that are speaking out now, the story is the same with these men. If it was a lie, then a whole bunch of them telling a lie. They all telling the same story, and several people
and they went for it though. That's what's crazy. No,
Yeah.
so they didn't turn her in.
Of course, they didn't turn her in. They got it, and they could have did anything they wanted in the classroom, and they got away with it too. So
Okay. Well, look, they earned that A, huh?
But I think it speaks either if it's male or female children being abused in this way, it speaks to a larger issue that sex is that thing that controls things versus like your performance.
But even if she was 18,
You know.
see, that's where I'm at. She's 18 and he's a teacher. And you know these new teachers is like 20, like I was
But if
saying.
you're a professor in college,
Uh-huh.
you can't mess with the students.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
Spit it out.
Because
Take your time.
in the healthcare profession, and I'm assuming it should be in the education profession, there is such a thing called a vulnerable adult. And whenever you are in authority over someone by position, age should not matter. So if the student is 21 and they are under the authority of a professor, this ethical issue is designed to protect that relationship so that this conversation does not occur. As long as you are under the authority of another, the one with authority should respect that relationship and refrain from any kind of questionable, debatable situation until after the authority has severed from that person. And that is where the debate is coming in.
Yeah, and like I think we should start a segment called. What did I say earlier? Because now it don't sound right if I say it. I ain't gonna say it now because it don't sound right. It can be misleading, but the issue is like we need to just talk about like people who need their ass whooped. You know? Listen, people who need their ass whooped. You know, and he one of those people. I mean, like it's just like you don't send your child to school. It's enough that they got to deal with the situation that's going on with the boys and whoever else like you. You know, at the school and all that stuff that goes on in school. Now you got a teacher creeping in.
But guess
it's
what?
not
Like
gonna
you said, people who
change.
need their ass whooped, he whooped his own ass.
Yeah, but that's like
That was the extreme.
So, but now what happens to the 18-year-old left behind to deal with that? It's not over for the student.
Mm-mm.
It might be over for the teacher who took advantage of the authority that he had over that student, not because it may have been consensual, but because you have to look at your position in this person's life at the time. If we remove age from it, and because, I mean, as a nurse of mainly adults, I am still bound by an ethical standard that while that person is under my care, they are hands off.
Oh, you can't get in the hospital bed. She can't climb in there and close the
That's
room.
why Kennedy Christian changed their name to Kennedy Catholic because of this same situation that was widely publicized on the news and in the area some years back. It was the basketball coach that the same situation. That is why they changed their name from Kennedy Christian to Kennedy Catholic.
So
But changing it, I don't understand the relevance of changing.
So they wouldn't be associated with that.
So somebody's like, oh, that was Kennedy. That was Kennedy
okay.
Christian, and
This
not
is-
Kennedy Catholic.
But it's the same
Catholic.
people.
But it's the same people, the same school, and everything else.
Interesting. I know a friend of mine who had a wife, who had a wife, and they were married, and she ended up having an affair with an 8th grader. Now, we started YSU together for education was our major. She was one. I would have never guessed in a million years that she would have fell in love with a student. Like that was my major when I first started education, to be a teacher. But I don't. Yeah, these kids they off the hook. I'll be straight book and release because I'll be like, I'll see y'all in court because they off the hook.
And release.
But she ends up falling in love with an 8th grader. Now, here's my thing. We all know that's been an ongoing thing where a male child will have a crush on a teacher. and they can't get up at that time and go to the front of the class at that time for some unknown reason, like the wind blow. That's what I heard. I don't have that.
Because it's a
So do you have, like, was there a teacher to be like, I can't go to the front of the class. You want me to go to the chalkboard? You know what I'm saying? But how does that teacher say, no?
Well, were you young like that though? Like your mind, like you, like
Miss Parker.
You daydream a lot about. It don't even have to be that teacher. It could be the girl in the class or whatever.
Oh, girl. Okay, you said you daydream and then
you'd be like, yeah. I don't know. That's a crazy thing though. But still, it doesn't mean that she should have did it.
My thing is how you getting turned on. I'm trying to understand that.
Pedophile.
Yeah, that's a pedophile.
Pedophile.
Okay.
We so set to talk about R. Kelly and crucifying
She still
him.
talking about R. Kelly.
But I mean, this.
I ain't muting R. Kelly because R. Kelly is like, woo.
Everybody is set to crucify R. Kelly, and yes, we should because a lot of those were children. So it's the same scenario. It's just a different skin color. We ready to throw the rock at our skin color, but their skin color, no. It's a sickness. It's this. It's that. Oh, well, they got married. They fell in love and got married and had kids. No, it's wrong. Period. I don't care blue, yellow, green, black, white, whatever. It's wrong.
Because there's another case like that that's really popular. There was a boy that was young and he ended up getting the teacher, pregnant. But then after she went to jail and everything like that, they still got together or whatever.
Right.
You know, I mean, I don't think it makes it right, you know, but it's just, I don't know.
Something wrong. Like, how do you fall in love with a little kid, though?
Because they validate you. Do I teach y'all nothing?
Well, a little kid is going to validate you if you're the teacher.
Well, because if adults ain't doing it, you're going to get it where you can.
That's a problem with the teacher.
Course, and that is. But why is there a problem? Now, there are just some people who got things. I'm not trying to clump it all in one thing, but when we're having this conversation, how does a woman fall in love with the 8th grader? That is because the 28-year-old don't want her. The 38-year-old doesn't want her. Somebody's making you feel, and you have this authority. You are in a position of authority. That validates you all by itself. And yes, we are sitting here like, that makes no sense. It makes no sense to me. Because I ain't dating nobody the same age as my 24-year-old daughter. So I know I'm not going to go to one of somebody's 8th grade classmate.
I will turn into the old lady with a bunch of cats.
But when you get into the 70-year-old who go on with the 30-year-old, now we validate that as a cougar. I mean, we have to look at how we define things too. People look for validation and they get it where they can. So when you 72 and you pulling a 30-year-old young man, oh, you somebody then. But the mindset is really the same.
Okay.
Well, amen.
Yeah. Because
Go ahead. I'm like, well, amen.
It gets quiet, like processing.
Yeah.
On the one hand, it's like you want to say stuff, you be like, the best advice I ever got came from Bazooka Joe. Some things is better read than say.
I said from Bazooka Joe. The rollback.
It's like, I want to say this. I'm like, oh, Lord, no. But,
there you have it.
But this is bad, though. I'm just saying, like, I would be upset if it was my son or daughter that had a relationship with the teacher. And I would be like, yeah, this is wrong. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, like, 18 or not. You know, it's just like one of those things where somebody got to bleed. Somebody got to get cut.
Okay.
Thank you. That's what I was
Look, I'm like, we already know the people.
You're behind. My child, you my child's teacher. They gonna be taking me to jail after I whoop you.
Okay, so word to the curb is that Steve Harvey is rumors out there that he's gonna be getting a divorce. Supposed to be getting a divorce. Now, Marjorie, his third wife, she came out and she shut down those rumors.
Thank you.
Now here I am. I said clearly there's something going on because they said that he's liquidating his assets and getting them out of both of their names and putting in his name. They seen that happening where he said his second marriage, it took him longer to go ahead and like sever things because things weren't in his name. It took him years to actually get it just only in his name. So my thing is this. I said, well, clearly it's trouble in paradise for that to even be a rumor. You know what I'm saying? Coming out. That is think like a man, act like a lady.
Yeah. But I wonder though if it's like, we don't know, like maybe there's something else going on. Maybe it was like, remember the Shaq situation where his wife was buying the property and she ended up messing up all the money?
Okay.
But maybe he need to be liquid to do a larger thing.
Well, they said that he's doing it to before the divorce battle. Now, allegedly, I'm air quotes, she was married to, like, before him, some big time dope dealer. Then she ended up marrying the big time dope dealer's brother, and they said that she was all about her money. I read, the old lovely Marjorie Harvey, and then they were having like trouble in paradise, alleged. Y'all hear me? Alleged. And then she done went to like Japan. Lebanese took her and her daughter, who he adopted. They done went around and they said spent a small fortune over there, spending all of his money because they have him worth $200 million.
Okay.
They have him worth $200 million. So Steve is allegedly liquidating all these assets, and just putting it in his name. And now she's coming back like, boom, let me shut these rumors down. I think that clearly for it to even be out that there has to be some type of trouble in paradise. And allegedly, one article said that his money is not as long as it was with him with the TV show eventually. And I'm like, oh, she moving on.
How old is the daughter?
The one that he adopted?
Yeah.
He adopted her grown. She like what, 23, 24?
Why you do that?
Now that's a question. Why did he do that? I don't know. Why?
I don't know. That just don't seem wise in itself.
Right. Now,
like, I didn't even know you could adopt an adult. Really?
And that's how we learned. We learned.
Man, shoot. I know a few millionaires. Somebody's be like, I don't want to get adopted.
All right. Well, I'm going to read this. Allegedly, Marjorie says that she would never allow herself to be pushed around. Money talks. Her man had, he better provide. And when the money's gone, she's gone too. Now, this is in several articles.
She said,
I had to laugh because I'm like, you already know how that was prior. She said that. But she posted a photo of the couple having a barbecue party at their home. So she kind of like shut down those rumors of a divorce. Now, if he liquidating stuff, now I'm going to keep it real. If I'm sitting there and I see that you, this is in Good Housekeeping. Look, Good Housekeeping, that's where I read that quote from. If we're supposed to be splitting, and I see that I hear that you liquidating assets because we having issues, that mean I ain't gonna get no money. I'm gonna go back and be like, we fine too. I am. I'm like, no, I'm not getting a divorce. If she's about that life.
Where do he live at?
I don't know where he live. LA, right? All over. I don't know exactly
California.
where he live.
a couple houses.
I wonder like.
But he put 4 of his houses in Texas on the market already. He sold 2.
Because it's like, I wonder, because like when people, like usually when people filed for divorce in California, like rich people, they get slayed.
Yeah, they do.
So he
they
changing it over.
And filleted, man. It's like you.
It sounds like something else is coming.
Yeah.
I mean, more
It's-
so than a divorce. It sounds like maybe somebody's getting ready to get sued, and so that everything is not attached to you. We're gonna get this out of your name.
Okay, now that could potentially be it.
Yeah, especially if she
Somebody gonna
married
sue
a
her?
couple times before, maybe the husband is getting out of jail or something
There's
like that.
possibilities. You'd be surprised the things that people will even set you up to sue for. She's traveling, and people will, say things or try to coerce you into saying things, even any remote thing that they can use against you to say that you destroyed my life with those words. Anything to come after you because they want your stuff. People find a way to come and get your stuff.
That's
Well, allegedly, this isn't the first time that the split rumors have gone on. You know what I mean? So they pretty much been up against it. Because last year it was a rumor that he was leaving Marjorie, which he loves her. Like, you can see it. Even like at the Hoodie Awards, he, put her up. She's beautiful. Put her up on the pedestal. And he always talks well about her. But last year the rumor was that he was with Kris Jenner by the Kardashians' mama. Look, Kim, they having to go to girl.
What do you mean with her?
I don't know. It was a rumor, and then Marjorie wanted $400 million to split at that time. So that's another one. So I don't believe that. Yeah, that's fake news. Yeah, I can't see that. I'm like, not at all.
I love this one entirely too much, but you never know the issues underlying issues. But
Well, with the Atlanta Journal, what was it? Constitution last year. Steve, he shut that down. He was like, "Nah, not yet." Talk about, nah, he ain't, leaving her yet. So that's what's going on.
Yeah, but that Kris Jenner, Steve Harvey collabo, man, that might be $1 billion relationship.
Look at him, like he's thinking about it. Like, wait a second.
Hey, because look at the fine work she's done to make money off of worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, shoot, I don't know. He might overlap Oprah.
And then turn around and end up like Bruce or excuse me, Caitlyn.
Right. Off the hook, crazy.
Go that route.
Off the hook. Listen, do you think that he is a good person to give relationship advice?
I read some of that book.
Uh-huh.
And I thought like it was kind of, I think it was lip service to women that really wasn't based, like, cause like he had some things like how he made stereotypical examples of, are you this kind of woman? Like the sports, I forgot what the different ones were. I just kind of felt like it kind of like, I didn't find the value of it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then when I watched the movies, it really made me like, first of all, I didn't finish reading the book. I read a couple chapters here and there of it. But when I seen the movies, it made me even think more that this is like some BS, in my opinion. But
okay, did you apply anything in your real life, or did you see anything or think back on the type of individual that you probably dated that he gave an example for?
But I think the problem is sometimes it's you. You know what I mean? Like you could look at like I could look at some defining moments in relationships where I can say, oh, this person did that. But then I gotta be true to myself, saying like, well, what did I do too? You know, and then I can remember some vivid things I may have done. They may not have been like, oh, you guilty as sin for doing this, and this was horrible. But it could be that little thing that you didn't do. You know what I mean? Like, some people want to hear, they need words of affirmation every day. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And I'm an acts of service dude.
You're acts of service. Okay, that's yours.
What's your love language?
Yeah.
What's yours? Do you know?
My love language is probably, I don't know, acts of service maybe. I don't know. I have to think about that.
Okay.
Think about it.
What's yours, you know?
I have no idea.
What's yours?
Time.
You win. You win. Time. Time is the most important thing. I even talk to parents about that. You know, people think they can give their kids money and buy their kids things. I said, no, the most important thing you can give your child is your time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, time wins. You're right.
Look at her, time wins. That's it. What about you, live studio audience? Anything? What's your love language? Do you know?
Love.
What?
I think love.
What's the language though?
How do you show it?
Up, silent. She's sitting there thinking she don't know.
Processing.
Oh, it's processing? Okay.
But Steve Harvey, I think that everybody who's been in a relationship is an expert in some part of a relationship.
I'll put this out there. Excuse me, guys. I'll put this out there in case you don't know what the 5 love languages are. So,
okay, you looked them up?
It's gifts. I kind of know them.
Okay.
Look, I kind of know them.
Go ahead.
Gifts, quality time. I said time. For me, words of affirmation, just like DeRugo said words of affirmation.
Yes, he did.
Acts of service, which Kim Ham, the go-to girl, said. And then the physical touch.
Yeah.
My physical touch was 0 when I took it.
I would have to go with time.
0 was physical touch for me, and gifts was got like 2 points.
Okay.
Like acts of service is where my thing is at.
Okay, and if you guys want to take the test and see where you are, visit Shop Talk with Mel on our Facebook page, and then you'll be able to take that because I'll make sure that link is over there for you by the end of the show, and you can find out what your love language is. All right, and this was 95 when the guy actually wrote the book. I can't think, was it Gary? I don't even remember what his name is, but anyway, the 5 love languages that was out in 95. I only knew that because
that was the go-to for if your marriage wasn't right.
Listen,
Gary Chapman.
Okay, hey.
Yeah, there's another book on by Robin. What's her name? Robin. Was it Robin Taylor? Oh, Dr. Somebody. She was maybe it's Robin Smith or something like that. She used to be real cool with Oprah.
I remember her a long time ago.
Yeah, her book had like, it came out maybe like 2005 maybe or 4.
Okay.
Something like that.
And what was she talking about?
It had extensive things in there about questions and things like that you should ask in a relationship. Like, it had like 300 and something questions, maybe.
That's too many.
But it was all under different categories. So
I'm like, who got that kind of time to say, okay?
Well, I mean, like, if you thinking about taking that next step, you know, a little bit of time versus an eternity may be maybe worth the trade off.
So, having counseling prior to marriage, do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah,
Great thing.
good thing.
Great thing?
Great.
Yeah, and then this is the thing, though. I would tell you this. This would be my advice. Don't do the counseling as a formality of getting married. Like, sometimes there's people, like, they already set the date, but they haven't did the counseling. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
So, like, their intentions is that they gonna get married anyway. And then sometimes you go through counseling, and it may be like one, like, I know people where it's like just one session. You know, I went through it was like 4 months.
Did you?
I was like, yeah, maybe 5.
Wow.
It was a lot of just stuff, like a whole bunch of work. Like, we did this thing called Prepare and Enrich.
Okay.
And it's a whole curriculum and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did they talk about in marriage counseling, what did they talk about with you?
Everything from finance to sex.
What?
And it was kind of like mine was done in a church, but it still, you know, they still talked about like topics like that.
Okay.
Go ahead. The one question that resonates with me was, outside of living according to the will of God, what can you do with this person married and achieve that you cannot do single?
Now, I love that.
I love that question, and I hate myself because I didn't answer it. I never answered it, but that was the ultimate question.
One more time. What was that question?
Outside of living according to the will of God, what can you do with this person and achieve married that you cannot do single?
Nick, how many times you been married?
Lower 3.
Okay, so 3. All right, well, we ain't mad at you. Steve did 3 too. Okay. Was that a question?
That would have made a difference for you. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Because that question just sticks with me.
Yes. Most definitely, because I knew, like I said, the first one, it wasn't right. I knew I shouldn't have got married to that fool, but I did it because, despite some people, because
you did it you got married out of spite.
Out of spite the first time. Yes, I did. I knew he.
Why? Because what? Society said that y'all wasn't gonna make it.
Yeah, some of his relatives, they ain't get. A couple of them was in the wedding, and every time I would talk to him, yeah, I'm gonna go get my stuff, I'm gonna go get my dress, I'm gonna go get my tux, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, but never did. And then it came back to me after we got married that they went and apologized to my first husband because I didn't think you was really gonna do that. I thought she was just talking. So you know.
So you got married out of spite.
The first time.
The second time.
The second time. I really did love that man, but it was like, well, we were together a couple years before we got married, and I knew there was things going on, but I really should have just, I don't know, I should have just stepped away. I mean, he was a good provider, put it that way. He just had to pay for so many kids, but he was, you know, what he had, he gave me his last to take care of what I needed to take care of.
So tell me, you didn't have any reservations when you say with all of his children? You didn't have any reservations before stepping in and saying, okay, I'm going to marry this guy?
Well, at first I didn't know about all of them. He just cued in on the one. And then I was studying about the other ones.
Look at Kim Ham, the go-to girl. She like, Nick, you got to hire her because she looking like, girl, listen. What about you, Rugal? Question. Did you get that question?
I don't know if I got it worded that way, but the extent of questions that was asked, like they asked you like your family plan, like this, like they wanted to see like all these different aspects and how y'all align together with those things, you know. And it was some tough conversations and stuff like that. I will say that, you know, where you just be like, I don't know about all this. I mean, if you having that true conversation, like you probably gonna bump heads on some things.
Okay.
You know?
All right.
Yeah.
I don't even remember counseling. Quiet.
Except for that question, I don't either.
Isn't that something? I don't remember counseling. I don't think I had counseling. It was just,
I don't
you
think I
married
had
for
counseling
love.
with the second one. I think we did. The first one, he was in the Army.
Okay.
So we really couldn't get the counseling session.
Right.
And I think we did one when he was home visiting. The other one, we definitely did go to counseling. I tell you what, I love my pastor because I know he's been praying for us, praying.
Is this a third one?
Sometimes I have to pray, but this one, I don't know. We are thinking it's like we both stubborn. And I think that's what is keeping us together too. Cause yeah,
I hope it's a lot. How long you been married?
It'll be 4 years.
Right, talking about something that's keeping us together. I hope so. Good. Look, I'm like, good. Yeah. Like, that is interesting. I tell you what, the first time, like when they say when you get married when you're young, I have read, of course, I know I'm doing a little research. I think it was before 30, you get married for love. Mm-hmm. Over 30, you get married for stability.
Mm-hmm. What do you do at over 40?
Right.
You just be like,
companionship.
Oh, well.
Companionship.
Oh, well.
You said desperation? The might as well ring. We've been rocking for about 30. I might as well, I might as well marry him. They didn't roll with me this long.
Yeah.
My first one definitely wasn't for love. I would say I was in love, but it wasn't for love. It was more out of spite.
Uh-oh. At least you were honest. All right, Rugo, what's happening in the movie world?
Oh, man. May the 4th be with you. This is the day that Star Wars back in 1977 was released to the populace and has changed science fiction and special effects as we know it. It also is a sad moment, though, too, because Mr. Mayhew, I can't think of his first name right now.
Okay.
But he was the guy who was in the Chewbacca outfit. He died on the 2nd.
Okay.
So he was 74 and he died, but he played Chewbacca up until The Force Awakens. So he was the original guy in that. So, God bless the man for his good works and everything like that, and for giving us a memorable, actually timeless character, because you can have Chewbacca forever. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it was, that was his thing, and George Lucas, and with his vision, he damn near died making Star Wars, but he got it done and he made it iconic.
Okay.
So there's this, it's a huge universe that he sold to Disney for like $4.5 billion. So if you got that dream, stick with it. Because you never know when Disney gonna want to buy your stuff.
All right, what else you went to see?
I'll keep calling it Infinity War. Endgame.
Yes.
I don't even know if we can even spoil.
Yes, you can. You can now because it already been out.
But did you hear what happened?
What? About the measles? Look, I knew about the measles outbreak. Go ahead.
Did you hear the one person walking out of the theater that spoiled it and told the end of the movie?
Yeah.
And everybody jumped him. I think it was in Japan, and everybody jumped him to beat him down.
Y'all crazy. The drama at the movie theater. Hey, see, that's why I'm fool with y'all.
It was a dude who was a Buffalo.
He was a superhero.
It's a dude that's a Buffalo Bill, and I can't think of his name right now. But he tweeted the ending and stuff out, right? So he spoiled the movie that way. And so fans of the Buffalo Bills and of Marvel, they want him banned from future Marvel movies, and they want Buffalo to trade him or to get rid of his contract because he spoiled the movie. It's real.
Y'all serious out here?
It was definitely real.
But the thing is, the movie in its opening weekend worldwide made $1.3 billion.
Wow.
357 domestic, $357 million domestic in its opening weekend.
Okay.
So this movie is gonna break all kinds of money.
So you don't want to spoil it right now?
I just don't.
You think some people still need to go see it?
I'm just saying.
Everybody just
I just think
see it.
if you ain't seen it now, you ain't seen it now. But these people out here real, man. I don't want to get beat up at the grocery store.
You don't want to get beat? Okay. But what about the one with the measles? Did you see that? The girl went to go see it and she had measles and they had to call everybody. I was like, why would you go see that with the measles in the movie
She had
theater?
a fire stick. All she had to do was cue up the fire stick because I paid for it.
They got it on
I paid
Fire
for it
Stick?
on Saturday and then seen it on Fire Stick on Sunday again.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's how
man.
good it is.
Oh, so it's a movie worth seeing again.
Oh,
yes.
I want to go.
Definitely.
I went and seen it at 7:30 in the morning.
Okay,
on
they
Friday.
serious.
You know, I love that one because it was like everybody was there, but everybody was a little bit too sleepy. Oh yeah, it was sad.
I cried.
Kevin,
All right, well, we ain't about to do that.
Kevin
Look, I'm
Smith-
like, we ain't about to do that. Start
Listen.
crying up here. We got to hurry up and wrap it up. Go ahead.
Okay, Kevin Smith give his point of view on it. He crying through a whole hour. This is a grown man crying, man. I mean, it's that movie right there. It's like they was like, hey, this is a comic book movie, but somebody gonna be nominated for best actor or actress or supporting.
Okay.
Because they was bringing it. They was, and in the story itself, it's like the perfect love letter to the fans, especially the ones who've been in like watching the 22 movies, all the movies. You know, it's just like, oh, it's just wonderful. And it's this one scene. I gotta say this one. It's this one scene when it's like Marvel's girl power moment. Like,
Oh, yes.
like every Marvel
Female
is in this shot,
superhero.
and it ain't
Yes.
even all of them because it's
Okay.
more that wasn't even in
Yeah.
it. But it's all the ones that's like, there right now. We ain't gonna go into all of that because but it's this like iconic moment where you like people was talking about Wonder Woman, which was cool.
But they need to be talking about these ones right here because if they get these women together and make a movie,
they can have
Yes,
their own, like they can just say we just doing just the women stuff
female.
of it and the diversity of it, like the diversity in the with just that shot, like it's women, but it's like on my hand, I'm thinking like two of them, three of them was probably white, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everybody was just
1,
this-
2, yeah, 3, and then the 4, 5. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
we gotta go to John Singleton after this.
Okay.
Okay.
What's that? You know that song?
I know that.
It smells better go moments. I'm going to do it real quick because we got to go to, like you said, John Singleton. Here's how to feel good every day. Real quick. Quick tips, okay? At the same time, move your body. A lot of people don't like to exercise, but just move. Get up. Clean your house. That's moving your body, okay? Make homemade meals. That's exercise in itself. Get some sunshine. We all love that vitamin D, and it does give us energy. Listen, make sleep a priority. Schedule out some time. Block out some time. Boom, turn your phone off because this social media will have you on there all night. Eat foods that nourish you. Yes. Don't just go and buy fast food like we talked about earlier. You want to eat to live, okay? Get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone. Go do something new and say, hey, this is exciting because what happens? It gets those endorphins moving. Do something nice for someone else. And I think Kim Ham, the go-to girl, said that. We are here to serve.
Yeah.
We are here to serve. I ain't say be a slave.
Yeah.
But we're here to serve. Let's just keep that real. Do something nice for somebody. Compliment somebody. Love yourself. It's okay to be you. You'll hear me say that over and over and over again, okay? Spend time with positive people. I told you guys 2 weeks ago, listen, that negative person, that naysayer, bye. Protect your positive energy. Write down 3 things that you're grateful for. And the reason we say write it down, my mom always said, write it down, make it plain. You can say it in your mind, but if you see it, say it, write it, read it. I'm going to tell you something that works. Trust me. Don't forget to laugh and smile. That's why I do the show. We always got some laughter up in this mug. Meditate. Sometimes you need some me time. I think we talked about that. And you like space. Rugal loves space. Space is some me time. And last but not least, listen. Don't hold grudges. Y'all know how y'all got that person be like, I don't like her. And then you don't remember why? Let it go.
But if we serving people, can we serve them up a piping hot ass whooping?
He crazy. It'll be memorable.
Yeah,
And then that grudge will be gone because it's already done. You released it. So that is how to feel good every day without serving them up a whooping. Okay,
right.
we don't want to harm people.
Okay.
Positive energy.
Positive.
Protecting your positive space. And there you have it. There's Mills Medical Moments. Bravo, lovely people. I enjoyed you. Can I get a round of applause? I stuck to that. All right, I cut you off with
John Singleton was he had a stroke and his family took him off of life support. So we have lost a very creative and really powerful director in the industry of industry of movies. John Singleton, if you don't know this, he was 24 when he was nominated for Best Director and Best Writer for an Oscar. Mm-hmm. He didn't win either one of them, but it was for Boys in the Hood. That was his first movie out the box at 24.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, didn't we talk about that last week? A little bit, but not. He didn't pass away.
So I just wanted to talk about that, but to give you the importance of what he did, I want to just share this with you. These are the directors who were nominated for their movies. He got nominated for Boys in the Hood in 1991. Lee Daniels got nominated in 2009 for Precious. Steve McQueen got nominated in 2013 for 12 Years a Slave. Barry Jenkins got nominated in 2016 for Moonlight. Mm-hmm. Jordan Peele got nominated for Get Out in 2017. Spike Lee, the body of work that he did, he got nominated in 2018. And these are things they haven't won. There hasn't been one of these guys, or there hasn't been anyone of color who actually has won this award. But they've been nominated for great works. And then when you think about the body of works that they've done, some of this stuff early on should have been Academy Award winners, and so that goes to show you where he was at with setting the trend, because even though people were doing the work, his work broke the barrier of being recognized. I've recognized on that level for a nomination, because you figure like this: in 1991, he got recognized for Boys in the Hood. Think about all the Spike Lee movies that came out. Before or even during that time,
all that, right.
Malcolm X and Do the Right Thing, all those great movies that people will watch for years to come that didn't get that accolade. And it was unfair, of course, because those was great movies. I can't tell you who won those years, but I can tell you what movie that I always watch.
Boys in the Hood, you'll definitely watch. I remember it was some controversy back then. You said 1991, right?
Yeah.
Because Ice Cube, that's when he first came on the acting scene, and they felt like he a rapper. He is not an actor or actress. So you had people that were in the School of Performing Arts, or these actors and actresses out there, and then the rappers was coming in and taking their roles. And then LLs came on in. So that was one of the movies where the breakthrough of the rapper coming in and taking over the acting world. But he's an excellent actor.
But the thing is, he was right for the role.
He was.
He was right for the role. You know what I mean? But this is some of his other works. He did Poetic Justice.
Oh, that was it.
Higher Learning, Shaft, Baby Boy, Jody.
Everybody know that line.
You know what I mean?
I hate you, Jody.
And Snowfall, which was a series, but these are the things that he wrote, right? And we all know those are iconic in the black community.
They slept on Higher Learning. Higher Learning is an amazing movie.
So when you think about the things that he directed, I'm just going to talk about the ones that stand out to people. He directed that episode of Empire, this movie called Abducted, 30 for 30, if you're familiar with that. Remember Four Brothers? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he directed that one.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
He directed Too Fast, Too Furious. It was a sequel to the original
Fast and Furious.
Yeah, so off of the weight of what he did with that movie, birthed a whole franchise of movies. Because if that second one ain't selling, doing well, then so when you look at his legacy, look at that. Remember Rosewood?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He did. He was what did he do? He directed that. He directed Rosewood, which was powerful. A couple of Michael Jackson videos and stuff like that. Like Remember the Time. He did those things
So he been out.
Yeah, because and then as a producer, he did the LA burning, the riot 25 years after the riot. He did a lot of things that were they may not have been mainstream things. He did Black Snake Moan. He was a producer of that. He was a producer of Hustle and Flow. You know what I mean? Which
I didn't know that.
yeah, but the thing is like when he was the producer of Woo as well, executive producer for
Of
that.
Woo?
Yeah.
Ah!
I mean, you kind of got it one here and there, but when you think about the body of work, like it takes a lot to be able to make a Hollywood movie, and when you think about the movies that he did make, were it like solely as a director and writer, it hasn't been a huge. I think it's like 9 or 10 like movies, but I mean, look at what's his name?
Excuse me.
Quentin Tarantino. He only got like 9 films that he made. You know what I mean? Like he did other stuff, but those things that he just did, like, and you figure like this guy was in the biz since he was 24. I mean, no, well, he was in the biz before that. Got recognized on a high level at 24,
And that's
and
outstanding.
He got at 51. The body of work that he did,
And that's sad though.
Yeah.
And usually it's probably from some stress from some other people that kill you because he had a stroke. And then that's what him having that stroke ended him up on life support.
Yeah.
And then they went on and let that go. And I want to talk about your friends real quick, and I'm gonna give you some Q-tips. Friends. Minimizing your circle when you need to. I just want to ask you guys around the table real quick. How do you know you have a good friend? Real quick.
Because whenever I run into him, no matter how much time has lapsed, it's like a day has not passed.
Hey.
When they allow you and accept you for just who you are.
One more time, louder, honey.
When they accept you and allow you to just be who you are.
All right, go ahead, Nick.
Will both of them?
Will both of them say, how do you know that there's a bad friend? How you know there's a bad friend?
When you don't really care about what's going on with them, I guess.
What? Okay.
You'd be
Is
like,
that a bad friend?
well, you know what I think though. I think it's the thing. Like I remember having a conversation with a friend, and I remember saying that I feel like this relationship isn't reciprocal.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So,
That would be it. What about you? Kim Ham, the go-to
I
girl?
don't think there's a bad friend. It's just poor judgment.
Okay. What about you?
To me, is one that they'll jump on the bandwagon when you're doing good, but when you're not doing good and you need somebody to talk to or need somebody to lean on, they are nowhere to be found.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give you like a few things, a few red flags to look for to know if you have a bad friend. Well, let me start by saying this. Back when you're younger, it's about quantity and not quality. And when you become an adult, then it's the quality. But if you lose friends because you're not around a not so good friend, that not so good friend is probably bad for you and you need to let them go. And we are guilty. I'm going to say we as a collective group, guilty for still being friends out of, I don't want to say commitment, but just a comfort zone. Like that's been my friend for like 20 years. And you're just like, okay, well, I'm just used to the person, even though we don't like their behaviors. And we still say, okay, that's my friend. I think that you need to like sever ties or minimize them or put them on the bench, set them on the bench them a little bit until they get some act right. Also, here's a red flag even looking for friends. Have you noticed you'll go somewhere, say like the workplace or whatever, and then all of a sudden you meet somebody and then your life is theirs? You be like, dude, we like grown. Like you ain't got no other friends. Like you want to just come over here all the time. To me, I say that is probably a bad friend. Because if you over 40 and you ain't figured this thing out yet, you ain't got no friends, something wrong. Have you experienced that where somebody just come over, hey, we're friends, and then they don't even want you to have your other friends?
Oh.
You know, it's like them, and it's about them. And I won't say like social media because you be having that. They be like, do you want to be a friend of social media? Man, hang in the closet. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna sit there. I ain't even accept your friend. Hang in the closet a little bit until I see why do you need me to be your friend so much? See, those are like red flags to me that I look up and be like, you like 40, you ain't got no other friends, and we got to do stuff every day. We got to go to lunch. Who was your friend before you came here? You know what I mean? I know you had somebody. Like, who was you kicking it with before you came here? And then when you leave the job, they're not friends with you anymore. They don't speak to you anymore. You ever seen that?
Oh, yeah. Okay. These is on the job friends?
And these are on the job friends that ain't real good friends. That's stuff that I look at and be like, you ain't got, I mean, you can be cool with me, but why you want to do everything? What you doing this weekend? Let's go out. Let's do that. what were you doing before me? Like, I don't want to do that. And I'm just giving examples, not just saying me.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Well, here's how you should choose your friends wisely, okay? Make sure you got common goals, similar values. We talked about the value system. Encourage and motivate. Like you said, supportive. You had that up there. Listen, encourage and motivate and be supportive. But just because I don't support if you want to sell them wings every day, I don't want to eat chicken every day.
Yeah, you ain't got
I am not a bad friend because I'm supporting Kim Ham, the go-to girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, you have to share and share alike. Associate higher. Associate higher. That's what you look for in a good friend. You know what I mean by that? Mm-hmm. If you are, my mama told me that too. If you're the smartest one in your circle, you needed to open that circle up. So that's why I had y'all here to keep me going. And here's the thing. You want to learn. You want to learn from somebody. How can I benefit from this individual? Is it a bad thing? Are you using them? Not at all. It's just like, hey, guess what? I can learn from you. You can learn from me. Boom, boom. And we all have different, different views, different lifestyles, the whole nine. But it's like I can learn from each and every one of you that's sitting around here right now. That's why we got the little Shop Talk crew. The Shop Talk crew. Boom. Learn something from Nick. Learn something from Kim. Learn something from Rugal.
Very little from Rugal.
I learned a lot from Rugal.
Learn something from Mel. We all are students. We all are teachers. We all.
And that's it. And yes, we learned a lot because you know the stuff that would nobody even think about. And they celebrate you. And that's my main thing. Make sure your friends celebrate you. Regardless if they're not there monetarily. We talked about that. If they're not there monetarily, at least they're there. We talked about time. Like I said, time is it. It's like, oh, okay, I'll support you. Shoot a text. Hey, sorry, I can't make your event every time you decide to have an event every weekend. You know what I'm saying? You'd be like, but I still support you, and they celebrate you, and they are genuinely happy for you and not faking the funk like we talked about earlier in the show where people are sitting there and you'd be like, are you really happy for me or not? You probably be sitting there like, I hope it's a flop. I hope that nobody show up. And they, share the pictures of the empty room. Talk about some, girl, I'm so proud of you. Why you taking pictures with all them empty chairs? You supposed to zoom in or come up close where it look packed. Celebrate me. Share my stuff. Do what I do. So the moral of the story today with this Q-tip is be the friend that you want.
See, if I took that empty picture, like all the chairs, I would put a caption underneath that would say, everybody was dancing.
Hey, now that's a supportive friend. Everybody on the dance floor.
Everybody is dancing. It's like, I only got to show you the dance floor. I'm showing you the empty seats.
Everybody. See, and that's a positive thing. But then you have those that'll sit there and show the empty seats and be like, is that before or after? That's what you looking at. A picture is worth 1,000 words. You be like, well, wait a minute. Is that before or after? But you don't know because sometimes a table will have empty seats and then people will buy tables and don't come, but they supported you monetarily. Mm-hmm. And it's like, dude, you should have told me. I could have filled these up. You know what I mean? Because everybody, you want a successful event and not that just shows that you don't have no friends or the people, the haters that sitting there like, look at this. And then at the bottom, girl, you see this? Ain't nobody there. I'm going to send you the picture. I'm about to post it. You about to post it? You know what I mean? On the text. You about to put, girl, I'm about to post it right now. Look it up. I'm going to share it. Haters. And I hate using the word haters. But what did Cat Williams say? If I ain't got no haters, something wrong with me. Y'all feel free to hate on me. Okay? That means I'm doing something right. Let's talk politics real quick.
Mala report. Is what's going on right now, and I can't think of the gentleman's name.
Barry?
His last name, Barr.
Oh, Barr. I'm talking about Barry. Barr.
He's the attorney general, and he's pretty much, it seems like they're gonna end up subpoenaing him to testify. Like right now, it's not obstruction or anything like that, but because he hasn't been subpoenaed to testify. They just asked him questions. But when you think about the collapse of what's going on in the White House right now, people, I mean, not even right now, since it started, people quitting, people being fired, people like right now, there's no Secretary of Defense, there's no Secretary of something else. There's like 3 major cabinet positions that aren't filled. Homeland Security. I know it's defense, and it's something else. Is it the FBI? One of those places. It's some really major things that need to be fixed, And honestly, the only thing that's going to fix it is 2020's election. That's
it. That's all we got.
That's the only thing that's gonna fix it.
Yes, please vote. Get out and vote.
It's crazy right now. And this report, actually, Mueller, who gave the report, actually sent out a letter to Barr saying that it was a 400 page report, the Mueller report.
Okay.
Which Barr summarized in 4 pages. And so then Mueller said, your 4 pages don't capture anything about this report. Like, it was worthless. But they were friends prior to this, I guess. And so Barr was like, well, you probably could have called me and talked about this. But Mueller was like, nah, I'm putting this out there in the letter form because this is not something that can be worked through in the phone conversation.
Okay.
You presented my report in a frivolous, arbitrary way. You know what I mean? So it's like, this has to be addressed in a more severe manner because this is what's going on. Is your loyalty to the country or to Orange? What'd you call him? or the president?
Orange food
or the President Trump. And that's the thing that's being skewed right now is that like people, in my opinion, they're not doing what's right for the country.
Okay.
And it's just like, let's protect this guy at any means necessary. And sometimes you just gotta chalk up a loss to what the loss is, stop the bleeding on this situation.
Okay, stop the bleeding.
Yeah. So you never know. Things is they still pressuring for the House has sent a gang of subpoenas to the president, or request, I think it's subpoenas.
Okay.
And like right now, he may not answer those subpoenas. Some of it is for the records and all that kind of stuff. But one thing is interesting is that you got to listen to whatever your position is, listen to the opposition sometime. And I'm not saying listen to to buy into what they're saying. Listen to hear what their point of view is. And so I'm driving down to Columbus and I'm listening to this radio. What I noticed is that sometimes these right-wing people, they're on like Christian radio stations and stuff, and they showing this like they're doing this blend of politics and religion, and that really, in my opinion, doesn't work. But there's also an issue of like just the like they never talk in facts.
Okay,
it's never in facts. It's always in like a qualitative state. Like, well. Like they had said something like, the reason Venezuela is having these problems is because they're socialists. And I'm like, that don't have nothing to do with a president who decided to be a dictator. You know what I mean? Like that has nothing to do with it. But the rhetoric there is that don't buy into any ideas that's built around socialism. Okay. It's like these people buy into that, but you like Medicaid, Medicare, unemployment, all these things that that help our society grow and are larger, help individuals grow, are based off of socialist ideas. Because people try to say that capitalism is where it's at, but it's only where it's at if you the person that's capitalizing off of capitalism. All right. But yeah, that's my little.
That's your spell on that?
Yeah. All
right, let me go with this Shop Talk question of the week. We're going to do this yes or no because we were running over time. The extended version of Shop Talk with Mel, okay? Do you think that it's a good idea for teachers to wear body cams? Go ahead.
No.
Now, the police are wearing body cams. Do you think that the teacher should? That way you can see how your child acts. Are we doing too much?
Well, I think the issue is, where does the body cam? Okay, is it how the student and the teacher is interacting, or is it used? Can it be used to say, is this teacher getting through the lesson?
See, right? That's where I was at. That's why I posed it.
You know what I'm saying? Like that would be.
Is it like an issue? Like is it really for the child, or is it to see if the teacher is really teaching? You'll prevent teacher falling in love, won't you, with a body cam? Go ahead.
Well, yeah, you will do that.
What do you think? What problem do you see it posing?
Well, I think it's a huge problem when it comes to like how are we at the point where teachers need to be monitored on their performance? And I think it would boil. Like I would, if I was a union rep, I would say there's no way in the world you filming my people wearing body cams.
But you're making it sound good by saying you're showing them the child. Go, you know what I mean? Like the kids is acting up. Go ahead.
What is happening with our whole culture that we have to body cam the classroom? Education for a student isn't just classroom; it's also at home. Where is the collaboration that we have to have cameras videotape what's happening in the classroom? To me, it's deeper than that. What is the problem that has come to that? Now, we can very obviously say what the problem is in law enforcement, and we got body cams and it ain't changing nothing. So what are we trying to move this to the classroom for? Where's the breakdown that this has become the case?
I want to hear from the people. If you had a child...
A body, it's, I
Would
don't
you
know.
want the teacher
I'm
to have...
on the fence with that one because the way things are going with teachers now, like, and the way kids are now, we didn't act like that in the classroom when I was young. So it's like, it's a protection on both ends, maybe. To me, I'm thinking along that line.
As a parent, that's why
as a parent, because you're seeing if your child is really cutting up so you could deal with that child, or are you seeing that teacher
provoking the child,
picking with the child that's not really doing anything, or just being a typical child, but you're cueing in on one particular student that you keep picking on. And, you know, so to me, I'm like on the fence with that.
With both ends, okay.
Go ahead.
You videotaped a baby being dropped on his head without consequence. What is happening in our culture that we've gotten to this place? This is deeper than that.
See, part of me is like, because the first thing I thought about was I wasn't really thinking about the teacher and like students having
confrontation. Because remember, there was the guns. Remember we talked about that. Taking guns.
Conjugal classes. Conjugal
classes. It's just so much going on.
But I think it's something to be said about classroom size and then the number of instructors in the class.
Okay.
And to me, like if it was my perfect vision of what a school system would look like, I would probably have no more than 20 kids in the class, and then have 2 instructors, a lead and a support.
So, with your question, what was the rationale behind the camera? Maybe we need to understand why they suggested that.
See, now here's my thing: the rationale behind the camera is so that, to me, it just says, like, what you think, all students are bad and we need to protect, like what Nick was saying, the people, the voice of the people. However, we know the real deal is micromanaging that teacher. Yeah. To see that's the real deal. But they tried to say the rationale was so that the teachers are protected. You can see your child. I was like, so you're telling me let's say 20 students, all 20 students in the classroom are terrible and acting out? Right. No. And how are you going to fix that? So what it is, I think it's just both ways. Somebody up top was like, okay, well, we can do that. Monitor, they'll be able to see the child and see if the teacher is provoking the child. And then also we'll be able to see, is this teacher actually teaching them? Yeah. So to me, it's just like micromanaging. I don't feel as though that should be done. Because everybody teaches differently.
Yeah, everybody teaches differently. But I think the one thing is like, okay, when you have like teachers when they're monitored, it's like the one principal going around to every class when they get a chance and everybody know about it and they sit in the classroom. At least like let's say you didn't do it let's say it was done for the first 2 weeks of school to assess what classroom management styles need to be introduced in order for
in-services throughout the year.
Then that would be different. I think it's how you use it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like how, and then is it a regular thing? Because I wouldn't want to use it for the issue of I hate to say the issue of surveillance, but
that's what it is.
That's what it is.
Because to me, the education process is that one thing is our classrooms are overfilled. You don't have enough people who are versed in certain areas to be able to help holistically with the child. And I just think like if you had like a model where, and then maybe the teacher ain't even, like maybe you have that math teacher, but then you just have someone who's at like learning support in the classroom, but not just some, average Joe off the street, but someone who's like, this is what I can provide to assist in a real way.
Okay.
In the classroom, because
to make things better and not as a surveillance.
So you're sort of addressing my point. What has happened that we have to even ask this question? Why are there so many students to so little teachers? What is going on that the break is happening at the top, but the people out in the field are the ones who are going to pay for the break? Because that's ultimately what's happening.
Well, and that's essentially what the Youngstown system is going through right now. Because like you had a CEO who hired 32 people, and all these other people that's not in the classroom. The issue is in the classroom. Spend the money in the classroom. That's why I say smaller classes, more instructors. Now, the issue may be it's hard to find instructors, but you can find someone that it could possibly make the transition through an alternative license to start to teach. Even if it's like the person, even if it's like a really skilled mathematician who want to volunteer their time, or somebody else is doing that in a real way. Like how do you structure this in a real way? And some of that is this, I hate to say quality control, but I'm going to say quality control of the message being taught. Like you might need that person to have small group interactions with certain kids while it's happening. You may need to have a larger period for math. Math may need to be an hour and a half instead of 45 minutes. Ooh, you know what I'm saying? I mean, but if you do it the right way, you know what I mean? If you do it the right way. I'm not saying like keep them in there and you just lecture, but what's this, what are we tackling in this time frame? And that because I like how college, like I for one, I think if high school was built like college, it is, you have more successes because you don't have the same class every day. You know what I mean? And then you have real time to do the homework, real time to get assistance. Like if you get the class 2 or 3 times a week, then you can go and speak to the teacher and all that stuff, or get the instruction needed to be on task. Or on level, whatever you want to say, however like that. But it's just like, until we truly make real, bold, courageous steps to change how we look at education, then you're going to always have these problems, especially when you got poverty issues, mental health issues, family issues, all those things. That's how I'm like right now, the structure of the after school programs, how they've been, I'm not a proponent for it, because right now the issue with how after school is structured here hasn't improved the main reason kids go to school.
You are 100%. Cameras are a distraction from the real problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I like that idea he said about starting to do the classroom like college classes. That also helps to get these kids prepared for
the real world.
No,
and the real world.
But this thing about like the syllabus, like you already know in advance everything
what's expected
that's required
of you.
You know what I mean? Instead of because if a kid is just like, as I know when I was in school, the only thing that was one thing, this is early on, was consistent was the spelling test. Every week,
every Friday, you was gonna get a spelling test. 5 times each, 10 times each. You
knew what was expected of you. You could have worked ahead and did it. You know what I mean?
Write it in a sentence. Isn't that funny? And that's like across the board.
We all said the same thing.
Yeah.
but somehow like it's become this thing of let's just give you this week this is happening. But if kids knew in the 4th week there's a 4-page paper or whatever you got to write, and this is how you got to do it. Some of the stuff I had classes that were set up on. Every week's assignment in college was focused on it was the part that made the whole, that made the sum. So I may have did this one thing this week, this one thing this week, it was do, and I'm graded on all of that stuff, and then boom, it's put together, and this is my final project.
And it makes sense.
Together. And now I do my presentation on the whole body of work. But I had week after week after week to construct it to make it my own. And I think sometimes because you have high stakes testing and all of this other crap that people gotta go to, that you can't be creative with the curriculum. if you want to put it that way. But
all righty, well,
that's a whole.
That's a whole nother show. But we gonna do it. We gonna do what we gotta do. Thank you guys. We have run over for listening to Shop Talk with Mel. Today's footnote is: a picture is worth 1,000 words. Look at it for what it is. What do you see? And Kim Ham, the go-to girl, said it best. We're looking through whose eyes?
Ours instead of the person we're dealing with.
All right, so hey, that's it, and it's okay to be you. How can we contact? I saw you on TV. Look, I saw her, Kim Ham, go to girl on TV. I said, hey, superstar. Shared it. So if you look at Shop Talk with Mel, you can actually see who Kim Ham, the go-to girl, is. And she also has a podcast going on that is banging out and very informative and extremely helpful. So tune in to her, inbox her, do all that good stuff. And like I said, you can see that on the Shop Talk with Mel page, where is Kim Ham, the go-to girl. And how can they contact you? How can they listen to the show?
Kim, this is how you do it with Kim. Oh, Spreaker.com /slash Kim Ham the Go-To Girl.
Yes.
Because wait a minute, everything going through my head. KimHamTheGoToGirl.com is the website. You can also go to my website, click on podcast, and you can click on live. KimHamTheGoToGirl.com, and you click on podcast, and you can find previous shows and the current show, which airs live Mondays 6:30 to 7:30, and Facebook Live at 6:30. And you can contact me at KimHamTheGoToGirl@att.net.
All righty, there you go. Rugo, what's going on with you? What's new?
You can see me in these streets. You can see me in these streets. I got an iron in the fire that ain't quite in the fire yet. But the iron is being made to go into the fire.
It's warming up.
Yeah,
it's warming up.
I'll put more into that once things have been confirmed.
Oh, okay. So the fire ain't real hot yet.
I gotta get the fire hot. Get that fire, at the right temperature.
So the low flame.
Oh, okay.
To put the iron in it.
He ain't lit yet. He almost there.
Yeah.
All right. What's up? What's new with you, Nick?
Nothing. I'm ready to start acting.
Hey, she ready to start acting. All right, lovely people. Y'all already know. Listen, the second casting call, if you are in this area, the second casting call is May 25th at 3 o'clock. Newport Library, which is where the old Sparkles, depending on how seasoned you are, on Market Street. All right, so Newport Library, Southside Library. I try to do it there because I'm a community person, and that's why I have the auditions there. Hopefully you'll go in, read a book, grab a book, and say, hey, bring your children, let them be in the library, and there's somebody to let somebody be there, to monitor them. But read, stimulate that mind and brain. All right, that is going to happen again May 25th from 3 to 5. Aspiring actors and actresses, this is the second casting call for the play Front and Center, SINNER, that will be coming in the fall. All right, so I'll keep you up on it. It's real, it's exciting, it's fun, it's the truth. Look, I'm like, it's the truth. And somebody posted on the Shop Talk page, I love you, whoever you are that actually put there, Shop Talk with Mel, the truth. I love it. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you guys come out. Even if you can't act and you want to work behind the scenes, contact your girl. You already know how to do it. Send me an inbox. Like me on all socials, okay? All socials at Shop Talk with Mel. Visit the website, shoptalkwithmel.com. And let's just kick it and have some fun, all right? What you got?
As far as the time and everything, because you like to be prompt with things. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. So please make sure you early.
Hey, that's our last one, Betty. Yes. And it is the truth. 3 o'clock, you can be there at 2:55. We're going to be right there. I start exactly at 3 o'clock. And if it's over at 5 o'clock, trust and believe, we packed up walking out the door. Okay? At 5 o'clock. So if you are interested, if you know somebody's interested, if they want to work as the crew, come on in. Talk to me a little bit. Let's do what we do. And I did speak to somebody yesterday that was interested in being a playwright. Y'all already know. Y'all can come talk to me. I'll help you. I'll lead you in the right direction. But you got to do the work, okay? All right. Find you, embrace you. Most importantly, always love you. Until next week, people. Shop Talk. Right here on Spreaker.com.